Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if neglected Naruto was born as Saiyan in Konoha. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Metalsaiyan88 and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The Village of the Leaf, a shinobi village in the Land of Fire that is ruled by the Hokage who all shinobi obey. There are numerous clans in the village, with their own techniques known as jutsu, that is divided into 3 different branches. In jutsu, the art to change shape of an object, such jutsu called transformation jutsu, would one such example or nature, such as fireball jutsu also an example. With the use of chakra and hand seals, the individual can perform any of these ninjutsu, so long as they know the hand seals, chakra amount and final what the jutsu intended purpose. In jutsu, the art of illusions that also requires chakra and hand seals, but unlike ninjutsu, which is to attack the person's body, jinjutsu attacks the senses by manipulating the flow chakra of their targets, causing them to see illusions that affect the senses. The jutsu, the art of body techniques, this is the basic of all techniques and anything related to martial arts. Any jutsu that uses chakra or does not require hand seals to enhance one's physical abilities can be considered a taijutsu technique. All these branches can be performed by anyone who can use chakra, all except for the cursed. Cursed refers to children born with a monkey tail and are not capable of performing any chakra-based technique. However, should they look at the moon, they turn into giant apes whose destructive power can rival a tailed beast. But unlike tailed beasts that have free will and sentience, giant apes do not. Instead, they go on a rampage, destroying everything in their path. During the clan wars, people would use these children to destroy their enemies, but it would backfire as they could not be controlled by any jutsu that was known. The leaders of every nation came together and created a law that everyone must follow regarding these cursed children. The law was that any cursed children born would be put to death immediately. Any child that survives the first part would have no rights or ownership at all and cannot claim citizenship of any nation. Since the law came to pass, the number of cursed dropped significantly. There were still a few incidents of giant apes, as people would not kill their children and instead would head out into the wilderness to live out in secrecy, but they would later be found by shinobi, who in the later years banded together to form shinobi villages to end the clan wars. Moving on. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, 7 years old, is the son of Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, or common Nakuin, as either Leaf Village or Konoha, who is well known since the last great shinobi war, who slaughtered thousands of enemies on the battlefield with his flying god jutsu that earned the nickname Konoha Yellow Flash. Naruto's mother is Kushina Uzumaki, also known as Red Death, whose skill with a blade is as deadly as the 7 swordsmen of the Hidden Mist, and former Jinchuriki of the 9-tailed fox, and self-proclaimed princess of the Uzumaki clan. Now, normally when a tailed beast is removed from its host, the host dies instantly, but Kushina survived thanks to her Uzumaki's strong life force and her husband Minato, who managed to seal a portion of the fox in her, thus saving her life when the fox was released by an unknown enemy of the village during childbirth. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki is seen sitting the Uzumaki clan dojo in front of his parents and his twin sister Natsumi Namikaze Uzumaki, the current host for the fox and Naruto's twin sister. Natsumi looks exactly like her mother with her long red hair and violet eyes and whisker-like marks on her cheeks, wearing traditional shinobi clothing, as she was trained early to prepare her for her career as a shinobi, while Naruto was ignored and only giving books to read in his windowless bedroom. The reason why his bedroom has no window is because Naruto was born cursed. His hair being blonde only at the roots, with the rest being black, with his father's ocean blue eyes, as Naruto is sitting in front of them with orange kill me clothes that he secretly hated as he prefers blue instead. Naruto is wondering why he is sitting in front of them. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, do you know why you are here? His father asked, getting no motion from Naruto. You are here because we and the village can no longer tolerate your existence any longer. His mother said. What do you mean by that, mother? Naruto said, as his relationship with his family was rocky at best. Sure, they cleaned his clothes, kept him fed and gave him roof over his head. They even trained him in the ways of the shinobi, but that was completely fail as he didn't have any chakra at all. What we mean, son, is that you have only lived this long because I have been doing favors to keep you alive, but since the last report of a giant ape attack a few weeks ago, we cannot let you live here in this compound, nor the village and nor this nation. His father said. So I'm kicked out. Naruto said as he begins to realize what was happening. Yes, from this day onwards you Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki are banished from the Uzumaki clan. She said without tears. And you are also banished from the Namikaze clan as well. His father said without a care. Wait, you can't do that. Sure, you can banish me from the village and the nation, but you can't banish me from the clan. Naruto said, as all the books he read says that clan can only be a clan if there are more than 10 people in a family, and then it would be a small clan. Oh, why is that then, brother? Itsumi said without a care as well. Because there aren't enough people in our family, there's only 3 people from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan, because of that we have no right call ourselves a clan at all. Naruto said, getting a hard slap from his mother. How dare you, monster! I am the princess of the Uzumaki clan, and when I say we are a clan, then we are a clan. Naruto was visibly shocked and afraid that his mother slapped him. And as Hokage of the Hidden Leaf, what I say goes too, and I say that the Namikaze is a clan and you are banished from it, and this nation pack your belongings and begin you have 3 days to leave our borders, or else our shinobi force will kill you as the law dictates. Minato said with anger. Okay, I'll go. Naruto said as he stood up and ran to get his belongings and leave as he knew his father was serious. Farewell, disgrace. Itsumi said. As Naruto ran to his room, he saw Koji Ito, Chief Executive Officer or CEO at the hospital, and one of a few people that Naruto considers a friend at his door with his belongings. Koji, what are you doing here? Naruto asked. I knew what was happening from a friend of mine, so I came by to help you here, take this. Koji said as he handed Naruto his belongings, which was a big bag for him and a small half-stone with seals on it. What is this? Naruto asked. I have some friends that will take you somewhere safe, here this stone will lead them to you. When you see them holding a similar stone, ask village of their response is. Koji said the response to Naruto's ear so that no one would hear them. He then gave Naruto a big hug and wished him luck on his journey and told him not to look at the moon. Naruto thanked him and ran as fast as he could as time was against him, as shinobi would be able to make it to the border in less time with their chakra, but for Naruto and any civilians it would take about a week to reach the border. He ran past the east gate and headed to Land of Hot Water following road signs so that he wouldn't get lost, as it was the closest to the village by 4 days if Naruto pushed himself. As Naruto ran, he saw the sun setting down and decided to stop for the night and make shelter with little survival knowledge he knew. As he searched his bag for anything that would help him, he managed to find some matches, a blanket and several rations. He managed to get a fire going as he was wrapped up in the blanket and eating his rations. His look back at his life in the village. His parents drilling their teachings into him day in day out with no results other than martial arts, but since Naruto couldn't use any chakra, he couldn't even use Taijutsu at all to aid himself if he was in trouble. In the end they gave up and just told him to read books instead and never come to them if he wanted something. As Naruto remembered this, he realized that his parents never cared for him at all. Even his sister would mock him by one-upping him at everything, which was easy for her. Naruto fell asleep while crying as realized that his family never loved him and only saw him as burden whose patience ran out. As the sun rose up, waking Naruto with its light and warmth, Naruto woke up thinking it was dream till he saw his surrounds. This caused him feel depressed at what happened yesterday. As he gathered his belongings for the tough day ahead of him, he rustling from the bushes and saw 2 cloaked people walk to him. Are you Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki? One of the cloaked figures said. And if I am? Naruto said with caution. The figure lifted his hand showing a small half-stone vibrated slightly. Naruto saw the stone and took his out, which darted to the other stone and inserting itself perfectly with the other half. You are Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, we are here to take you somewhere safe. The figure said as they lowered their cloaks revealing their faces. The first figure was a woman, judging from her face with silver roots in her small gravity-defying hair that turned black as it went out. The second figure was Make again, judging from his face. His hair was long, nearly reaching his shoulders, and was completely black. My name is Ichika Haddock. She said, identifying herself. And my name is Sauda Hyuga. He said, identifying himself. Wait, if you are here to take me somewhere safe, then what word is missing from village of? Naruto said, getting smiles from the other 2. Sadala, it's the name of our village where people like us can live in peace. Ichika said as she took off her cloak revealing her brown tail. Sauda did the same, also revealing his tail as well. You're just like me, we're cursed. Naruto said as his widened when he saw their tails moving freely. Well, first off, yes, we are like you, and second, we're not cursed, we are actually called Saiyans. Sauda said as he walked up to walk before knocking him unconscious as his partner took Naruto's belongings. Good thing we took out the shinobi that was following him. Is that a red mark on his face? Ichika said. It would appear so, and as for his escorts, they were easy to spot and even more easy to take out, they didn't know what hit them. Sauda said. Good, we got the target and no one knows we were here except for our scent that will be gone when the wind comes. Ichika said. Let's head home, the rest of the Uzumakis will be happy to have another clan member back to them. Sauda said, getting a nod from Ichika as they jumped into the air and flew higher into the air till they were above the clouds so no one would see them as they left to go home. Several hours later. Naruto woke up on top of a bed in a room that had no windows. As he looked around, he saw that it was a nice room. There was a wardrobe, chest of drawers, a book stand and a desk in front of him. As he got off the bed, he saw the door and opened it slightly and saw a red-headed man next to it. Oh, morning Naruto, I see you're awake. The man said, getting a shock response from Naruto, who immediately closed the door. The door opened again, revealing the man, who had a smile on his face. Naruto took a defensive stance, but the man held up his hands. "Easy, I'm not here to hurt you, Naruto, and I wouldn't want a fellow clan member either," he said, getting Naruto to relax a bit. "What do you mean, clan member?" Naruto said. "Of course, where are my manners? My name is Akio Uzumaki. Nice to meet you, Naruto." Akio said. "Nice to meet you, my name is Naruto Nami." Naruto stopped as he remembered his banished him. "What's the matter, Naruto?" Akio asked. "My parents banished me from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan." Naruto said as tears came down his face. "Yeah, I heard that. What right do they have to call themselves a clan? At best it's a family. I understand Kushina keeping her clan status because she is from a clan, but your father has no right, even if he is a Kage. Only the daimyo has that power, and only if there are 10 or more as the law is concerned with." Akio said. "That's what I just said too, only I got a slap from my mother saying as princess of the Uzumaki clan, she has rights to say that, so did my dad saying as Kage he word is law." Naruto said as Akio approached him and looked at his red cheek. Kushina did what now? The red-headed lady with long hair yelled as she heard what Naruto just said. Naruto immediately backed away from. "Mom, I didn't mean to." Naruto yelled back as backed himself to the wall. The red-headed backed up a bit when she Naruto cowering at the wall. "Sorry, it's okay, I'm not here to hurt you. My name Natsumi Uzumaki, I'm your mother's older sister." Natsumi said as she kneeled down so that Naruto can get a better look at her. Naruto calmed down a bit and looked at her carefully and noticed some differences between her and his mother. Natsumi has a mole under her left eye and a scar along her right cheek, also her hair was braided on one side and her eyes were a bit darker violet than his mother. "You're not my mother," Naruto said as he relaxed a bit more. "That's right, I'm your aunt. Also, your mother has no right to call herself Princess of the Uzumaki. That was a nickname that our father gave us, and even then she doesn't have the right to be clan head, as our older Menma Uzumaki was named clan head before giving it to me when he and 24 of our strongest shinobi sacrificed their lives to make sure we made here safe and sound. She was only at the leaf to be the next Nine Tails Jinchuriki. She has no right to take the Uzumaki am from you on her side of the pond," Natsumi said. "What do you mean her side of the pond?" Naruto asked. "When Ichika had a Kansauta Hyuga knocked you, they did that for your safety. They took you across the ocean and brought you here, the nation of Sadala," Natsumi said. "I thought we were in the village of Sadala," Naruto asked confusingly. "Yes, we are, but this nation only has one village since there is not a lot of people here," Natsumi said as Naruto gave her a nod showing here that he understood what she said. "But now come on, everyone is eager to meet you and we do a ceremony to attend to," she said as took his hand and led him to a great hall that had a pedestal with a large orb on top of it was packed with people and children, some of much had tails. "Now then, Naruto, I want you stand still here, everyone step aside please. Naruto would be so kindly and place your hand on the orb in front of you." Naruto did what he was told and placed his hand on the orb that immediately starting spewing out mist on the floor. "Naruto, would you be so kindly and remember the last meeting you had with your family from the leaf please," she said as Naruto began thinking back yesterday. The mist around the room took form of Minato, Kushina, Natsumi and Naruto when they were banishing him. As Naruto remembered the conversation from what happened, the mist forms of them began speaking, showing everyone what happened to his parents banishing him, the clans, to Naruto explaining they didn't have any right, Kushina slapping him, his father angry with him and his sister calling him a disgrace. As Naruto remembered the conversation and how it ended, his mind went back to his training with his parents and them telling him to read books instead and never to come to them for anything. It even showed times when Naruto wanted to play with his sister, only to be told by her and his parents to just leave. Everyone in the room seeing this was seething with anger that Kushina abandoned family, which is the core aspect of being an Uzumaki, which is to always be there for their family not matter what. "Naruto, you can remove hand now," Natsumi said as she shed a single tear. "Naruto, the orb you placed hand on is a memory retriever designed to retrieve memories and only memories and not anything conjured by our imaginations. Let others view them as well. I ask you to show what happened during the last meeting with your family because I wanted the clan and myself see what really happened. You also showed us that even though they trained you they gave up and when you tried to be a brother to your sister they rejected you," Natsumi said as she looked around the hall and saw heads giving a nod. "After viewing what was shown to us, I, Natsumi Uzumaki, current clan head of the Uzumaki clan, do hereby remove Kushina Uzumaki from our clan. Any objections?" she said, getting no's from everyone. "Naruto, do you have any reasons to remove your sister from our clan, as judging from your memories that we saw?" Natsumi said. "I would like my sister to keep her Uzumaki name, as we are both still children and hopeful in the future she would come to regret what she did," Naruto said. Like a true Uzumaki, Naruto always thinking of family. Then as of this day Kushina Uzumaki is removed from our clan. Itsumi said, getting cheers from everyone. Naruto, you stand before us with no family name as your parents took it from you. She said, making Naruto feel sad at that. But no more, Naruto, raise your head, for you are now part of our clan, Naruto Uzumaki. She said, getting a shock response from Naruto. But why? I mean, I'm cursed. I change into a destructive giant ape at the sight of a full moon. I have no chakra. I can't use any jutsu at all. Naruto said. Naruto, it is true that when children with tails look at the moon they change, but they are not cursed, they are called Saiyans. For now I won't explain what they are, only that are warriors with their own abilities that requires different training from us to use them. You there, sweetie, please float around Naruto for me. Itsumi said as she pointed to one of the children in the room with a tail, who immediately did what he was told, shocking Naruto that he was floating around him like it was nothing. But how? Naruto said. The ability to fly is easy for Saiyans to use, that's how Ichika and Sauda brought you here so quickly, and that's just the beginning, even the great ape form can be controlled with training. Itsumi said. Please teach me. Naruto said as he smiled. Naruto, you must know this, in the nation of Sadala our military forces is split into two divisions, the shinobi division that handles anything to do with infiltration, espionage and sabotage. They are what makes a shinobi a shinobi, do you understand? Itsumi said. I bet ya. Naruto said as Natsumi remembers she talking with a 7-year-old. But the other division is called the Warriors Division. They are made of people like you, Naruto. They handle patrols, battlefields, and because of their ability to fly they handle our supplies in case the enemy were to intercept our supply runs. Itsumi said, getting a nod from Naruto, who understood that. But then if you want to learn what it means to be a warrior, then you need to enroll at their academy and graduate it, but that won't happen yet, as the next enrollment won't happen till the beginning of next month. That would give us plenty of time for you to get acquainted with your new family, Naruto. Itsumi said. There's one I don't understand though. Naruto said. And what is that? Itsumi said. How did Koji get in contact with the village in the first place? Naruto asked. Koji, the CEO of Konoha General, correct? She said, getting a nod from Naruto. I can't tell you how, Naruto, only that the certain people tell us when a Saiyan is born, so that when they supposedly kill them as the law dictates they actually put them to sleep till a Saiyan comes to pick them up and drops them here at the orphanage. Naruto was shocked that there was a system in place to safeguard any Saiyan born on any other continent. But we can't get to all of them, as you are aware of what your father told you yesterday. Itsumi said with sadness. But enough about that, kids, go outside and take Naruto with you, us adults have other matters to attend to. Itsumi said as Naruto was immediately grabbed by the same boy who floated around him, dragging outside with the other kids who ran after them, him causing him to scream out loud while the adults laughed. Oh hello, my name is Menma Uzumaki, you already met my mother Natsumi. The boy now identified himself. Naruto, nice to meet you, please let me go. Naruto said as he was let go and fell on his back in the courtyard. As he got back up he was dogpiled by the other kids. Back with the adults. Lady Natsumi, what happened at the meeting with the clans? Spoken Uzumaki. They're worried about the new Mizukage Karatachi Jinchuriki of the Three Tails. Apparently it seems that the power is going to his head as he's spouting hatred of bloodlines being the devils and the cause of wars, and they're afraid he might go on some kind of purge to get rid of them. Itsumi said, getting worried looks from everyone. Are we to sit back and let it happen, or do we intervene and risk exposing ourselves to everyone? Spoken Uzumaki. If the Mizukage does go with this purge we are to offer a safe haven to anyone who wants it, but we must be discreet about it. And if the Mizukage discovers us, then what? Then Uzumaki said. If that were to happen, then we are to help any resistance that is forming because of these purges. Till then we sit back and watch what happens and pray that this new Mizukage comes to his senses before he does something stupid. Chapter 2. In the 2 weeks that Naruto was staying at the Uzumaki compound was the best he ever had. No one was calling him a monster because of his tail or his lack of chakra. His cousin Menma, with permission from his mother, began teaching him how to draw out his power, or as he and anyone else in the nation calls it, energy, which Naruto found it was easier than those chakra exercises that he was taught back home. At the Hidden Leaf things went downhill a bit for Natsumi as she was leaving the academy. Hi Natsumi, where's Naruto? I haven't seen him in a few days. Hinata Hyuga said as she was one of only a few people that would call Naruto a friend. My family banished him just a few days ago, that's why you haven't seen him. Itsumi said with a smile as she actually didn't care about him at all. But why? Hinata said with shock. Because he's a monster and a disgrace to shinobis everywhere, so we banished him not only from the family but also the village and this nation, and gave him 3 days to leave, otherwise he would be killed. She said without care. Don't you care about him at all? He's your brother after all. Hinata said. No, why should I? And like I said, he's a disgrace. Itsumi said. I see then Natsumi Namikaze Uzumaki, I can no longer be your friend as my friends would never abandon family so coldly. Hinata said with anger. But Hinata, it was for the good of the village, you knew he was cursed, you knew he could destroy the village just by looking at the moon. Natsumi said as she was shocked that Hinata was ending their friendship. Of course I was aware, but I didn't care. He was nice and kind and never judged anyone, hell even my sister sees him as a friend as he would let her play with his tail, she even calls him Ani-san as she sees him as an older brother, Hinata said as she left to go with her father and to tell him and Hanabi the bad news about. Damn Hinata, what is wrong with you? Natsumi said. What do you mean what's wrong with her? Natsumi turned her head to the person who said that as Sai no Yamanaka as well as Shikamaru Nara and Choji Akimichi who were beside her too. Do you even hear yourself, or do you just not care about your brother who could be dead by now? Ino said. No, I don't care about him, and like I said to Hinata, he's a disgrace, hell he should have died when he was born as the law said to avoid all of the embarrassment he brought to our clans. Natsumi said again with care. Naruto may have been cursed, but you and your family are the monsters. I don't want anything to do with you at all. Ino said as she left. Same here, goodbye Natsumi Namikaze Uzumaki. Shikamaru said. Yeah, goodbye Natsumi. Choji said. As they left, so too did everyone else, leaving only her, Sakura and Sasuke, who didn't care what was going on, and Sakura was busy being a fangirl for Sasuke. Kushina saw this happen and looked to the other parents who only shrugged, saying that in time they will make up as they are only children. Back with Naruto. Naruto was called to a meeting with his aunt Natsumi and some representatives from the academy in her office. He knocked the door waiting to be greeted in. Come in. Natsumi said as Naruto opened the door. He saw Ichika and Sauda in the room stand next to Natsumi. Naruto, how are you holding up here? Natsumi said. It's been great, I haven't felt like this at all. Back home people would call me monster because of my tail, but not here. Here I fit right in and everyone is so nice, it feels like a real it is a real family. Naruto said, getting a worried look from his aunt who didn't know about the insults from the hidden leaf. Naruto, did my sister help stop those people who would call a monster? She asked, hoping for something redeeming in her sister, but instead all she saw was Naruto's head fall down. She didn't care, it's like if there was any motherly instinct in her it went to my sister instead. Naruto said, shedding a single tear before wiping it away. Anyway, why are Ichika, Hadouken and Sauda Hyuga doing here? Also it is nice to see you again. Naruto said. Nice to see you too, Kidme, and Sauda came by to see if you fitting in, and from what we've heard and seen, it seems you fitting in nicely, which is good. Ichika said. We are also here to say that you've been accepted to join the Warriors Academy that is starting in 2 weeks. Sauda said. Really that quick? Naruto said. Your aunt sent us a recording of your memories, sorry about that, but we had to make sure, as normally it would infants that we bring back to the village, not children, in case it was a spy that was attempting to find where our village is. Sauda said. I understand, seeing that the law over there says that any cursed born should be killed after they are born. I hate to think what they would do when they find an entire village full of us. Naruto said. Exactly, also your aunt told us that Menma has been teaching you the basics. Can you show us a simple orb and hover around us a bit so that we can see? Ichika said as Naruto put his hand out in front of him and created a small orb for them to see. But nice and solid, okay, now the hovering. Naruto drew the orb back in his hand and absorbed it back into his body. But you can reabsorb your energy, please show us that you can hover. Sauda said. Naruto focused his energy to his feet and hover a foot above the ground before going around them before being grabbed by his aunt. You are doing so well, Naruto, I can't believe you mastered it so quickly, and I take it your tail doesn't hurt when someone pulls it. She said as she was grabbing it tightly, but had no effect on Naruto. It did at first a couple of years ago, but I used rope to tie myself to my bed and did some lifting, hoping that I can power through it, and it worked. Naruto said, getting laughs from everyone. Oh Naruto, you had no idea what you were doing, and yet it was the right course of action. Natsumi said. What do you mean by that? Naruto said. It's easy, Naruto, our tails are our weakness, even in our grade 8 form, if someone was to pull it, we would lose our strength and it'll hurt like hell. Some of us train to get rid of that weakness when we're older, but you've already done that. Sauda said. Yeah, that'll make our jobs easier now. Ichika said. What do you mean by that? Naruto asked. We'll be your instructors until you graduate is all. Sauda said, getting a smile from Naruto. Alright kid, get out of here, I still got business with them. Natsumi as she let go of Naruto, who floated away. He's getting the hang of it nicely, now back to business. Natsumi said as she got behind the desk and took a seat. The general is concerned about the Mizuki's change of behavior and wonders if someone got him under a Jinjutsu. Ichika said. Jinjutsu, yeah, that would explain the change in personality, but he is Jinchuriki, it would have to be a powerful Jinjutsu to do that. Natsumi said. The general is aware of that and is sending a team of Uchihas and Hyugas to see if the Mizukage is under such a thing, and if he is remove it, we are here to see if there's a way to protect against such a genjutsu in case whoever placed it comes after us. Sauda said. Yeah, I know better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I will need the Uchiha's help if my clan is going counter such a jutsu, if that is alright. Natsumi said. Understand, I'll inform him and see what can be done. Thank you for your time, Natsumi Uzumaki. Ichika said as she and Sauda took a deep bow and left the office. Over the next 2 weeks Naruto finally left the Uzumaki compound and saw the village for the first time with Menma, who decided to be his tour guide. As he took Naruto across the village, Naruto saw several Hyugas walking around without any headbands. Hi Menma, do you know why there are so many Hyugas from the main branch here? Naruto asked as Menma was confused but knew why. Oh right, I forgot you don't that much about the village since you just came here 2 weeks ago. He said, getting a puzzled look from Menma. Just before the Hyuga joined Konoha, some of them had mixed feelings about their clan using a curse seal. Just as they were discussing what to do about the seal, they saw an adult Saiyan come before them, as one of the women at the time gave birth to such a child that the Saiyan was looking for. He told them that another village would accept them and a Saiyan infant as well without persecution. Seeing they had little choice as they were stuck between being branded and an infant being killed and an unknown village, they took a gamble and faked their deaths so the rest of their clan wouldn't find, but it worked out in the end as the village of Sadala gave them land to claim as their own and a place where other children like the infant can be raised in peace. Spoke a passing Hyuga who heard the conversation between the two kids. Thank you, Lady Hyuga. Naruto said. You're welcome, Naruto. She said. How do you know my name, Hyuga? He asked. Easy. 2 weeks ago one of our clansmen, Sauda Hyuga, came back with a 7-year-old Saiyan with whisker marks and you're the only one that can have those. She said. Oh right, I guess my cheeks do give me away. Naruto said with a smile. They certainly do. Now then, off yous go, but don't stay out too long, okay? She said with a smile. We won't come on, Naruto, we got lots places to go to and some of my friends would like to meet you. Menma said as he dragged Naruto with him, leaving the Hyuga lady alone. It certainly was a good gamble back then, and our clan hasn't forgotten our savior's name either, Sauda, whose name still lives on. She thought to herself as continued with her day. Naruto followed Menma as the village of Sadala was natural hidden by mountains that encircled it, and when Naruto asked how big the village was, he was told that the mountains were its wall, and the space from one side to the other was about 60 kilometers long, which Naruto figures it was about 55 miles long, which was bigger than the leaf. As Menma entered the park with Naruto behind him, Menma shouted to a group of kids. Hi everyone, I'm here, how are yous doing? Menma said out of breath. Relax Menma, we're not going anywhere, whose whiskers by the way? Unknown female said. Oh right, this is Naruto Uzumaki, he just came to the village a few weeks ago. Naruto, this is Caulifla Uchiha. Menma said. Caulifla Uchiha was wearing low-set purple bell-bottoms with a brown belt, low-cut magenta top with dark gray bracelets on each arm. Her hair is long, wild, spiky and black, matching her black eyes. Nice to meet you, Whiskers. She said. Don't mind her, she always like that, this Kale Hyuga. Menma said. Kale Hyuga was wearing a red shirt exposing her midriff matching her lower outfit, a red skirt with a brown belt and black compressed shorts underneath it, wearing also golden boots with red tips and golden bracelets on each arm. Her black hair is tied back into a spiky ponytail. Hi Naruto, nice to meet you. Kale said. This is here is Giant Senju. Giant Senju was wearing pink arm bracelets on each arm and wearing a light blue top with the Senju clan symbol on the back and black compressed shorts underneath a dull green skirt with a brown belt. Her hair was short and baggy. Nice to meet you, Naruto. Gina said. This is Fasha Kamizuru. Menma said. Hi. Fasha Kamizuru said, wearing a green shirt and low-set yellow bell-bottoms with green arm bracelets and a brown belt, with her hair flat with spiky bangs. And last but not least, seeing as the other guys aren't here, Satsuki Uchiha. Menma said. Hi Naruto, nice to meet you. Satsuki Uchiha, wearing a dark blue top with the Uchiha symbol on the back with white shorts and a brown belt, her hair was short with spiky bangs. It's nice to meet you all, I take it the Hyugas weren't the only ones who faked their deaths to come here. Naruto said. Got it in one, Whiskers, the Uchihas here separated from the other clan during the clan wars. In fact, most of the clans here did, except for Miss Kamizuru and the Uzumakas who moved here during the last war. Caulifla said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. I was brought here after I was born and raised by the village. The only family I have is a sister named Kurisuchi and a granddad named Inoki from Iowa. Asha said, getting a shock from Naruto, who immediately figured out who her granddad is from the books back at the leaf. What? She asked. You're the third Tsuchikage granddaughter and you look like Sasuke Uchiha, the duck butt, only a girl and without the duck butt hairstyle. He said, getting a similar shock from Fasha and a loud laughing from Caulifla. I'm the third Tsuchikage granddaughter. Fasha yelled out. Ahaha, your brother has a duck's ass for hair, hahaha. Caulifla yelling out loud. Yeah, I remember seeing him at last Chunin exams that was held in the Leaf with his granddaughter and your sister Kurasuchi to promote friendly relationships with our villages. We got along fine, except for my sister, that is. Naruto said. Why is that then? Fasha said. My sister was raised with a silver spoon and thinks everyone is beneath her. She nearly started an international incident because of that. Naruto said, looking down as he remembered how cold she was to him, but hoped she would get better in the future. Damn, attitudes like that is what starts wars. Hopefully she doesn't become Kage. Hale said. Agreed. Also, what's with your whiskers? Giant said. Their birthmark when my mom was the previous Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, but there was an incident when we were born. She survived when dad placed enough of the fox's chakra in her and sealed the fox itself into my sister Natsumi. Naruto said. So your sister's a Jinchuriki for the strongest beast there is, but us, that is. Caulifla said, getting laughs from everyone but Naruto, who was confused. Oh right, you don't know, when we Saiyans transform into a great ape our power can rival them. Menma said. Damn. Naruto said as he didn't know about that. How did you get here anyway, Naruto? Fasha said, which made Naruto fell down. I don't think that's something Naruto wants to share at this moment. Menma said. It's okay Menma, they find out later anyway. Both my parents banished me from both the clan, village and the nation. My dad kept me alive this long because he did some favors for our daimyo, but in the end he gave up like my mom did when my sister and I were being tried. They just said to never bother them, seeing as I can't do any jutsu at all. Whoa, was the village just as bad? Giant said. I did have friends there at the academy, but the rest of the village except for a ramen stand would throw insults at me because of my tail. Naruto said, shedding a single tear. That's bullshit. Everyone including Naruto turned to Caulifla, who shouted that. Why is it that they can have wars against each other and be friends afterwards, and yet when it comes to us Saiyans they kill us the moment we are born? It's just so unfair. She said angrily. Yeah, that sucks. It's all because we can't control ourselves when we look at the moon. That's not our fault, we only transform when we have our tails. Fasha said. Wait, would we need our tails to transform? Didn't know about that. Naruto said. You didn't know? Damn, what are they teach you there? Also, what clan were you from when they banished you? Hale said. I was in the Namikaze and the Uzumaki clan because my mother wanted to keep her family name when married my dad Minato Namikaze so that any Uzumakis out there would find her. Naruto said. How many of your clansmen were there in Konoha? Giant said. Including me and my sister, 3 of each. Naruto said, getting surprised looks from everyone except Menma, who already knew. But you need at least 10 people to make a clan, and Ev. Caulifla said. And even then it would a small one. Yeah, that's what I told them to, only to get slapped from my mother for it. Naruto said as the girls looked at Menma, hoping that part wasn't true, but he shook his head, signaling them that it was the truth. We used the memory orb back at the compound and saw what happened. Because of that we banished his mother from the clan and accepted Naruto as an Uzumaki. We asked Naruto if his sister should be banished, but he said that they are still children and hoped in the future that she would regret it. Menma said. As the girls heard this, Jin, Satsuki and Kale hugged Naruto, except for Caulifla and Fasha, who were too much of tomboys to get involved, but everyone saw them shedding tears from what was heard. Thank you, how about we play now to forget what just happened? Naruto said. Now you're talking. How about a game of tag that should help us with speed and reflexes for the academy? Sure, sounds like fun. They said as they spent the day running around chasing after each other under the hidden supervision of the village Anbus, who was making sure they were behaving. At the end of the day, as the sun started to set down, the Anbu appeared out of the shadows. Excuse me children, but the sun is setting down and it is time for yous to go home, especially you Caulifla che. Anbu said, pointing at Caulifla, who just huffed. Okay Anbu sir, thank you. Menma said. What did he mean by that? Naruto asked. Caulifla here likes to start fights now and then. Kale said. What, I like fighting, so sue me. Caulifla said. They tried that, your defense was fighting them. Satsuki said. What, a good defense is a strong offense. Caulifla said. Are Anbu normally watching children when the sun goes down, or is it because of Caulifla? Naruto asked. That and to make sure we get home before the moon comes up, you know, giant ape thing and all. Kale said. Come on everyone, let's head home, we'll meet back up tomorrow and give Naruto a proper tour of the village, what you say? Menma asked. Sounds like a plan to me, sure. Everyone said as they left to go home. Naruto and Menma arrived to the compound when they Akio there, who asked how their day was. Naruto said it was the best day he had in his life and how quickly he made new friends. He also asked how many other clans were in the village, but Akio said that the academy will tell him that when he enrolls there. During the next 2 weeks Naruto was giving a tour of the village by his new friends and was shown the other side of the mountain wall, where he saw farmlands that stretched along the mountain wall. When Naruto asked how big the nation of Sadala was, they shrugged their shoulders as they didn't know. They spent the rest of the time playing tags or mock battles. The day of enrollment. Naruto was nervous as at the first day at the academy. The academy was a huge building located near the east entrance of the wall. On the courtyard he saw 5 training posts with scorch marks on it. Naruto's nervousness quickly died down as he saw all the students with tails, some of them loosely hanging and others that moved around their waist, making it look like they had a brown belt. Naruto quickly realized that his friends' brown belts were their tails. "Alright Naruto, are you ready?" his aunt said as he looked at her, then with a big smile. "Yeah, I'm ready to be a warrior of Sadala." Chapter 3. It has been 6 months since Naruto joined the Warriors Academy, which he found out was a 3-year program. The first years which Naruto was a part of, including his friends, were taught the history of the Saiyan race and that the nation of Sadala was named to remember their homeworld that was destroyed by countless infighting, were saved by a group of passing Tuffles that saved them. However, some of the surviving Saiyans were still fighting amongst each over the Tuffles, suggest to drop some of at another planet and take the rest with them. Weeks after the Tuffles dropped of some the Saiyans that wanted to go elsewhere, the Ten Tails emerged and began attacking the world. The Saiyans, not wanting to lose another world, fought against the Ten Tails and eventually meeting the Great Sage himself during the battle. During the battle against the Ten Tails, the Great Sage imprisoned the beast inside himself and became the first Jinchuriki. After the battle was over, the Great Sage saw that the surviving Saiyans' numbers was too few for their race to come back, so the Great Sage used the power of the Ten Tails and altered the human race so that instead of a human being born, it would be a Saiyan instead. From that action, the humans of that world and the Saiyan race were intertwined. History wasn't the only thing the first years was taught, they were also taught how to channel their power called energy, which they learned can be used to boost their physical abilities and can be used to create shields or destructive orbs that can rival a tailed beast's strongest attack. Naruto also had been told just how big the nation was and was shocked that it was big enough to fit 4 of the 5 nations into. Its location was 200 miles southeast of the Land of Water, where the village Mist Village was located. On the south side of Sadala was a vast barren wasteland that was used for mock battles, to test some new techniques, and to allow their warriors to control the Great Ape form, but that part of the training was for the 3rd years, and once they managed to control the Great Ape, then they would be allowed to graduate from the academy. All to the west of there is lush with green vegetation that was used to train both shinobi and warriors in survival, should they need to survive off the land if they were alone. "Excuse me, Caper-sensei?" Naruto asked. "Yes Naruto, what is it?" Caper said as he was the instructor for the class. "I was wondering why the academy only has 3-year program, while the academy at the Hidden Leaf has a 4 or 5-year program." Naruto said as everyone else was interested in that as well. "Good question Naruto, and the first one I have been asked. The reason being is that us Saiyans are natural warriors who are fast learners when it comes to battles and fighting techniques, so the 3-year program we got here is the longest it takes to complete the program, mostly because mastering the Great Ape is the most dangerous part there is, and as for the Hidden Leaf program, from what I've been told, it's because even though they're training them to be shinobi, they're also training them be human as well, but there have cases where some individuals were able to graduate early because of either hard work or great skill. I hope that answers your question Naruto." Caper said. "Just one question sensei." Naruto said. "Go on kid, one more and then the lesson, okay?" Caper said. "I was wondering if there was more transformations than just being a giant ape, like what if someone was able to shrink that form down. Sure, it's nice being big and all, but that would make us a bigger target, wouldn't, so I was wondering if it was possible, while in that form, to shrink it down is all." Naruto said, which got the instructor thinking. "Did I think you're onto something there, and for good reason. I'll let the warriors know if that is possible and get back to you on that. Now where were?" Caper continued with the lesson but was curious about what Naruto said and wondered why no one else thought about before. After the lesson was done and the students were sent home, Caper waited at night to see if it was possible for what Naruto said. "Hi Caper, what are you doing here at the academy? It's nighttime, go home," spoke Daiko, a friend of his. "Daiko, I was waiting for the full moon to show itself so that I can test a question one of my students asked me." Caper said. "Oh, what did he ask you?" Daiko asked. "He asked if it was possible while being a great ape to shrink that form down, like make it smaller." Caper said. Daiko was about to respond, but he was thinking on that as well. "Now that I think about it, I never thought about it before. It does have some merit to it. Can I join in on this experiment of yours? I believe your student is onto something there." Daiko said, getting a nod from his friend as they for the moon to show itself. 3 days later at the Uzumaki compound. Naruto had just came back from another exhausting day at the academy, but one thing was plaguing his head, and that his instructor had a huge grin on his face. As Naruto entered the compound he saw Akio waiting for him. "Akio, is something the matter?" Naruto asked. "Naruto, you're to come with me, the general herself is here to see you." Akio said with serious. Naruto didn't say anything but followed him till they reached his aunt's office and where he knocked twice before opening. "Itsumi, Naruto is here as you requested." "Ah, good, thank you Akio, you may leave us." Itsumi said as Akio left the three alone in the room. Naruto saw his aunt with a serious expression, but then his sight turned to the third individual. The third individual was clearly a Saiyan by her tail that was wrapped around her tail. She was wearing some kind of shoulder-less armor that was light blue with a Saiyan symbol on the left in gold. From what Naruto was told at the academy, the color of the symbol signifies rank, with red being like the genins, so there was lots of them around, and silver being the chunins or officers, with gold being jonins or commandeers, but the symbol Naruto was seeing was gold but had lightning sparks across it which meant general. I'm using the standard Saiyan symbol in the show, but instead using different colors to say which rank it is. When Naruto saw this he gulped and straightened himself. "I'm sorry General, I didn't know you were here," Naruto said, getting a laugh from the general. "Stand down Naruto, you're still a cadet, so there's no reason to worry about that yet." When Naruto heard this he relaxed. "Serious Maze, you nearly scared the poor boy when he saw you." His aunt giggled. "Oh please Natsumi, it can't be helped with now, then where was I? Oh right, Naruto Uzumaki, my name is Maze Uchiha, general of the warriors of Sadala and Caulifla's mother." Maze said, making Naruto extremely nervous as he worried if Caulifla got her tomboyish attitude from her mother. "It's nice to meet you Maze Uchiha, why is it that you want to meet me?" he asked. 3 days ago you asked your instructor Caper if it was possible to while in being a grade 8 form to make it smaller. He tested it that night with a friend of his and the result was outstanding. The results was nothing we thought was possible," she said. It worked, Naruto said with shock. "Oh, it worked alright, this new form is actually quite powerful," she said. "How powerful is it?" Naruto asked. "Well, the grade 8 form make us 10 times stronger and this new form is 10 times stronger than that, so I'm sure you can work out the math for that. Not only that, but it would seem that the new form doesn't need the full moon to use it, as your instructor and his friend can transform during the day," she said. "Whoa, that's a lot of power," Naruto said as he realized the new form makes someone 100 times stronger. "Exactly, which is why I'm here to congratulate you on discovering this new form," she said. "What do you mean? I didn't do anything, I just had an idea is all," Naruto said. "And yet those ideas is what gives birth to everything we create, can't wait to see what else you're thinking of," Mei said. "Is there anything else you want from me Maze Uchiha?" Naruto said. "That's about it, the rest I have business with your aunt unless she has something she would to discuss with you," she said looking at Natsumi. "Not that I can think of at the moment Naruto, so I'll see you at lunch, till then enjoy the day," she said as Naruto left the room leaving only the two women alone. "I heard his sister is named after you for some reason," Mei said. "Yeah, our mother died after Kushina was born and she saw me as a motherly figure, that's why she named her daughter after me. Now on to business, anything about the Mizukage?" Itsumi asked. "According to our intel, it seems that the Mizukage is indeed under some kind of genjutsu that is probably the cause of his madness, but we can't get close enough to dispel it without them noticing us," Mei said. "I see the Uchiha and I have discussing ways on how such a genjutsu would affect a Jinchuriki, and the only one we can think was used by Madara himself to control the fox when he was fighting Hashirama Senju. The only other time it was seen was when the fox was released during Kushina's pregnancy, but from our reports on that night, the fox said to the person before he was under that genjutsu was that he was not Madara Uchiha, so how did that person learn the genjutsu then?" Itsumi said. "It could be an apprentice that was using Madara's name before he died, that would explain how he used the genjutsu, and it would explain why the individual was seen wearing a mask and cloak to cover himself, as reports from the time before the start of the hidden villages said that Madara was not afraid to reveal himself," Mei said. "Agreed, so the question is who is he or she then? Best bet would be someone that everyone thinks is dead, and where did Madara find them?" Itsumi said. "We have one theory as to whom that person might be that has some weight to it, but unless the mask falls off it just remains a possibility," Mei said. "And whose is that then?" Itsumi asked. "Obito Uchiha reports from our warriors at the time as they were returning with an infant in their care, says they saw a Leaf Genin impaling herself on a silver-haired boy lightning attack as they were surrounded by Kiri Shinobi. They were quickly identified the people as Rin Nahara and Kakashi Haddock. From our intel they were part of Team Minato and reported losing their teammate Obito Uchiha," Mei said. "That's sad to hear and all, but is there more to it?" Itsumi said. Yes, after Rin was impaled, the individual later emerged from the woods with some kind of Venus flytrap thing on himself. As he saw Rin die, he unleashed some kind of attack that killed all the Kiri shinobi there apart from Kakashi. As he passed out when Rin impaled herself on his attack afterwards, Obito walked to Kakashi with the intent to kill him, but let him live for some reason and proceeded to hold on to Rin despite her being dead, suggesting that he loved her. Mei said. And according to the Uchiha, seeing someone you love die or killed makes the Sharingan evolve into the Manjinko Sharingan, and with that comes the ability to control the tailed beast. However, we believe that Obito thinks Kakashi was the one who killed Rin, probably the reason why he wanted to kill him, and probably thinks he did it on orders from his sensei Minato, which is why Mei stopped letting Natsumi finish what she started. Which is why he attacked the leaf all those years ago, but still why go after the Mizukage and what for? Natsumi asked. That is the big question with no answer. The clans are still trying to figure that one out, but in regards to the Mizukage, if he does go on a purge, and if someone is trying to stop him, then we help him, even if it means risking exposing ourselves for everyone to see. Mei said. And the clans came up with this plan. Natsumi said. No, I did, but I did tell the clans about it, so they know what to expect when we are discovered. Mei said. And believe the clans council is only made of 3 clans though, thought there would be more. Natsumi said. True, but they did ask me to invite another clan to join them. Mei said. Oh, who's that then? Natsumi said, not getting a response from Mei, who just simply smiled at her. But why? I mean, we're honored, but why? Natsumi said with shock. These your clan's contributions to Sadala's defenses and your clan's seal masters have greatly improved Sadala for the better, and not only that, but your clan does have some knowledge dealing with foreign affairs than we do, and let's face it, we can't keep hiding forever, they will find us. At first we were afraid that they will attack like they did with the land of Whirlpool. Mei stopped, knowing painful the memory is for Natsumi and anyone else from the clan who was there. At first we thought we could hold them off with our grade 8 form, but thanks to Naruto, we can hopefully force them back, and even if they were to send out their Jinchurikis, we have your clan full of seal masters who still have the complete knowledge that made them feared in the first place. So I, Mei Uchiha General of Sadala Military, are asking you, Natsumi Uzumaki clan head of the Uzumakis, to join the council. Mei said. Natsumi was deep in thought over what to do. Yes, their clan did have some knowledge when it comes to foreign affairs, but when they opened their arms in peace to other nations they were attacked. Yes, Sadala did save them near the end, gave them land to claim as their own, taught them that their children who were cursed area actually are. They were even surprised to find more Senjus in the nation who welcomed their distant cousins with open arms like they did, but they were also cautious, and for good reason. Natsumi realized why they offering the Uzumakis the position on the council. It was because of the experience with other nations. Even though it was a totally failure that led to their nation's demise, they still needed the experience to prepare and not take advantage of like they were. Alright, I, Natsumi Uzumaki clan head of the Uzumakis, do hereby accept the invitation to join the council for Sadala. Natsumi said. For Sadala. Mei said, shaking hands with Natsumi. Elsewhere at Konoha. The Hokage office. Minato was busy working in the night as a distraction after he banished his son Naruto from both the family and the nation 6 months ago. Truthfully, he tried everything to stop it, but ran out of time as more attacks of giant apes came into his office, left with no choice as it was either banishment or death for Naruto. In the end he chose banishment, but he had planned for him. The plan being that Jiraiya would take him somewhere far away from anyone so that he could live out his life in peace. He even told Kushina what he was planning to do, which she agreed to. He wanted to tell Natsumi and Naruto what was going on, but was afraid as Danzo spies were everywhere and he was getting bolder at defying him and instead went about his own way for the leaf. He didn't know what Danzo did when his back was turned from him, and as much as he wanted to get a Yamanaka to mind walk in his head, he couldn't, not without reason. Natsumi, his daughter, he was worried about state of being as when Naruto was banished, she didn't seem to care about him at all, and instead sees Naruto as a disgrace that needed to disappear. He knew why his daughter was acting like this, as he saw her and Danzo talking several times before. He knew that Danzo got into her head. She didn't have Danzo's curse mark, but she was beginning to think like him, and that was worrying for him. When the day came for Naruto's banishment, Kushina decided that if Naruto was to question them, she would make sure that Naruto would hate them or at least be afraid of them, and it worked. After Kushina slapped him in anger, he saw fear in his son's eyes and ran off. After he left the compound, Kushina nearly broke down and was about to cry, saying how she hated herself for slapping him. She wanted to go with him and help but knew she couldn't, cause as soon as she left the village Danzo would go after Natsumi and try to influence her to be his weapon. 3 days after Naruto was banished, did Jiraiya come into his office asking where Naruto was as he couldn't find him. Hell, even the team of Anbu that was sent to protect him was knocked out by someone or someone's. They searched the area for weeks, coming with nothing. All they could find was 3 different sets of footprints, one belonging to Naruto, while the other 2 were unknowns. At first Minato thought it was Danzo wanting to turn Naruto into a weapon by having him be in one of the other hidden villages and go ape crazy. "How are you doing, kid?" Jiraiya asked as he came through the window. "I'm worried about my son, sensei, please tell me you got something." Minato asked. "I got 2 things that are related to each over, maybe one of them might involve what happened to Naruto." Jiraiya said, getting Minato to light up a bit. "Okay, and what's that?" Minato said. "A week ago I spotted a couple of people with an infant in their care, didn't know where they're from, but they look like trouble, so naturally I hid myself very well in the bushes and listened to what was being said." Jiraiya said. "What did they say?" Minato asked. "They said they could have been at Sadala by now if it wasn't for the baby needing a change of clothes. That got me thinking as to what they were talking about the Sadala. As I was thinking on this, I noticed that something was off with not only the couple, but the baby as well. They had brown tails, Minato, all 3 of them had brown tails, meaning that they are cursed." Jiraiya was interrupted by Minato by this bit of information. "Exactly, not only that, but as they were down with changing the baby they flew away, Minato, as in they actually fly away like Inoki does. However, they were heading east away from Earth Country and out to the ocean instead." Minato was shocked hearing that they were flying. Add that to their tails. This got Minato thinking that perhaps there was more to the curse than being a giant rampaging ape instead. "What was the second thing that might be related then?" Minato said. "I got this from a trader near Kiri," he said. "While he was working he saw a team of Anbu heading out near the water near where he worked. At first he thought it was a team from Kiri, but as the clouds moved letting the moonlight hit them, he saw a symbol he never seen before on their masks." Jiraiya said, showing Minato the symbol that the trader saw. Never seen the symbol before. What was the thing that relates this to the flying couple with the infant?" Minato said. "Is what the trader heard that connects the 2, he heard them that they need to get back to Sadala ASAP." Jiraiya said. "Yeah, I see what you mean by the 2 being related, sensei, and there's a chance that the couple might know where Naruto is. See if you can find out where the Sadala is." Minato said. "It'll take time to find out, kid, but I'll give it a shot." Jiraiya said as left via the window, again unaware that a white-looking ink mouse was listening in on their conversation. Unknown route location in Konoha. Danzo was sitting at his desk reading reports from his route on how they were lessening the strength from other villages without them knowing about it. Just as he was about to read the last report, the white ink mouse made itself known to him on his desk. Danzo reached out for an empty scroll and unrolled it, allowing the mouse to dispel itself on the scroll, revealing what it has learned. As he read it, he came to same idea as Minato, but decided to let Jiraiya do the heavy work and wait for him to come back and report what he found instead. "Alright then, Sadala, what are you?" Chapter 4. 6 months later. Uzumaki compound. Naruto was outside doing his own training in the rain, hitting the raindrops with punches and kicks while also dodging them, his mind trying to focus on the task on hand but kept lingering back to the day he was banished. Banished from the family. His mind said as he landed several punches in quick succession. Didn't they care for me at all? Dodging the raindrops as they fell on him, covering the tears that was falling down his face. "Look, if you want something from us just ask, but leave us alone," they said when they had enough of trying to teach Naruto any jutsu. Naruto, landing several kicks in the air while hovering, almost fell to the ground as his mind kept wandering back. "Since the last report of the giant ape attack, we cannot let you live in this compound." His expression changing from sorrow to anger as his mind was taking what he was thinking and converting it into anger to keep him focused on his training. "Nor the village." His punches becoming faster. "Nor this nation." His kicks becoming a blur. "I'm kicked out." His expression turning to sorrow once again. "Banished from the Uzumaki clan." His expressing turning back to anger. "Banished from the Namikaze clan." His attacks becoming more tense as on the day he was banished he had nothing. "Farewell, disgrace." His mind contained his anger as his body was heating up, steaming up the rain that landed on him. "But you can't banish me, you need more than 10 people, there's only 3 people from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan." His mind feeling less anger. "How dare you, monster." His mind remembering the slap from his mother and the anger in her eyes, causing Naruto to land on his hands and knees as his body was holding his anger that was boiling over. "You have 3 days to leave our borders or our shinobi forces will kill you." His expression filled with rage. "Disgrace." He said as his hair changed color. "Banished from the clan." He said as the raindrops stop in the air. "Banished from the village." "Not," he said as his eyes changed colors. "Banished from the nation." He said as a golden aura was beginning to show. "Monster." "Unsteer." Naruto rage and anger exploded, the hair on his body turned golden, his eyes turning teal, an incredible golden aura exploded from his body, scattering the rain that was near him. Naruto drew back the rage into himself for one more outburst as he hovered into the air till he was above the compound. "I am not a disgrace," he said as he unleashed his rage, scattering the rain even further. Feeling exhausted, he fell to the ground, changing back to his regular self. As he fell, he was captured by his aunt, who saw the whole thing happen, as did several clansmen and his best friend Menma. "You're not a disgrace, Naruto, nor are you a monster," Itsumi said as clung onto him. "Your last family didn't love you, but we do, and we are your family," she said as she looked at him and saw he was sleeping peacefully in her arms, exhausted from his training and that transformation he unleashed. As she carried him to his bedroom, her friend Maze, who saw it happen, she wanted to talk about what just happened but decided to wait after she put Naruto to bed. Afterwards, she told Maze to come to her office to discuss what happened. "Okay, what was that?" Maze said as she kept quiet. "I don't know, some new kind of transformation," Itsumi said as she was going over in her head what she saw. "Okay, first Naruto was training in the rain, which he was doing well, but that needs to stop, don't want him catching a cold." Second, he seemed to be remembering something as his fighting was both improving and failing at different times. Third, it seemed that this transformation is triggered by anger, but what would make him so angry in the first place? Should Itsumi said, getting a puzzled look from Maze. "The day is the day Naruto was banished from Konoha by his ill-gotten family, he must have been remembering that all over again," Itsumi said, getting an angry look from Maze. "I read the report I got from you on that. What kind of mother would slap her own child in anger and just disown him like that?" Maze said while clenching her fist. "It saddens me that my sister fell away from being in Uzumaki. Well, you're here, is there anything else you need from my clan general?" Itsumi said. "Maybe I got reports that Jiraiya has been seen around Kiri and discreetly asking people about Sadala and our symbol. So far no one knows anything, which is good on our end, but I did leak some information to him via Anbu as to where we are," Maze said, getting a look from Itsumi. "Don't worry, the information was so small it was like a small pebble thrown into a lake, which is why I'm here. I need some of your clansmen that are seal masters to capture him, should he find the village or not," Maze said. "So we're going with a plan to secure an alliance with Konoha?" Itsumi said with concern. "Yes we are, but only in secret, and once we have captured Jiraiya and hopefully convince him to arrange a secret alliance with Konoha, especially since we need more info on the Mangekyou Sharingan if we're going to counter it and free the Mizukage before he goes on a purge," Maze said as Natsumi was thinking if the idea was good, which it was, but there was a chance that the other nations might find out about them. "How many warriors have been able to achieve the current transformation?" Itsumi said. "As of now about 70%, but I will be talking to some about this new transformation Naruto just discovered again," Maze said. "I take it he's doing well at the academy other than straight A's on his report cards," Nat said. "AU. I call the elder Natsumi Nat for short, as some of us were a bit confused. The instructors are telling me he's a prodigy, and from I've seen during his private training I have to agree, but I think that his banishment is motivating him, which is good, but it can also have an impact on his mind, which is worrying a bit, especially after what we've just seen," Maze said as her daughter was starting to fall for the Uzumaki boy. "Will do. Also, how long before Jiraiya gets here? I still owe him a punch for spying on me during his stay at Uzushiokagure Hot Springs," Nat said. "Hopefully in a few weeks," Maze said. 10 days later, the coast of Sadala. A small boat made landfall just as the sun rose up, starting anew. The figure Jiraiya cautiously takes his steps, remaining aware that he is in unknown territory. "Good thing I avoided the port here, don't want anyone knowing who I am. How did anyone not know about this continent? It's big enough to fit several major nations in it. Gamakichi was able to steal the map from that merchant, or else I wouldn't be able to find it." Speaking of Jiraiya, thinking as he went, hand sign summoning Gamakichi. "Yo Jiraiya, good to see ya. How did I do with the map I got you a week ago?" Gamakichi said. "You did good, your father would be proud of you. I need you to deliver a message to Minato telling him I found the nation of Sadala. Here's the coordinates and the map of the place. If he wants to come here himself, give me one of his kunai and I'll signal him." "Understood," Jiraiya said, getting a nod from the toad, who disappeared in a puff of smoke as Jiraiya ventured into the forest, hoping to find more to the nation other than the port that was shown on the map. Konoha Hokage office. Minato was busy doing paperwork and reading another failed report on finding Naruto from his team of trackers. He decided it was best to put it on hold till he heard something from Jiraiya, even though that was 6 months ago. Just as he was finishing the paperwork, Gamakichi came through the window. "Gamakichi, what are you doing here? Does Gamabunta want something?" Minato asked. "No, I just got news from Jiraiya. He found the nation of Sadala. He's asking if you want to check it out as well. Here's the coordinates and the map of the place. So far the port is the only thing that is shown on the map. Whoever they are, they're taking security very seriously." Amakichi said as he gave Minato the map and coordinates. Minato, looking at the map, was already shocked that Sadala was a nation, but a nation with this much land, it would make the largest one. The only continent bigger than that was the one with 5 nations on it and dozens of smaller ones. How did no one see this? Here, take this, tell him to wait 30 minutes as I prepare a team of Anbu to come with me. Minato said as he Gamakichi one of his kunai as the toad disappeared with the kunai. Dog, snake, eagle and weasel. Minato said as 4 Anbu appeared beside him. We have a mission that may lead us to Naruto. You have 25 minutes to get ready, acquire what you need from the shops, tell them to send the bill to the Hokage. We're going into an unknown nation with next to nothing about them. Minato said as he left to get supplies as well as to tell Shikaku that he is in charge till he gets back. Hi, they said as they left to get ready. Please son, please be there. The forest of Sadala. Jiraiya re-summoned Gamakichi 10 minutes after he disappeared. Here, give him about 30 minutes as he prepares a team of Anbu to come with him. Amakichi said as he gave Jiraiya the kunai. Afterwards he disappeared, leaving Jiraiya, who was making his way towards a barren wasteland, so that he summoned Minato and his team. After 30 minutes he threw the kunai at a rock. Just before it landed, Minato and his team appeared before Jiraiya. Sensei, it's been a while, I take it we're in Sadala. Minato said as his Anbu were on guard. Yep, welcome to Sadala people, from the map that I gave you, Minato. He stopped as Minato showed everyone the map. We're here south of the place. This X mark is the port. From what I've seen, it's big enough for 2, maybe 3 ships at least. Whoever these people are, they prefer secrecy, so keep your noses down and listen carefully. We got next to shit on these people, other than it may be a nation full of cursed people, so be careful. Jiraiya said. Sir, something is coming very fast towards above the forest. Eagle said. Everyone hide in the forest now. Minato said as everyone immediately jumped into the forest looking for cover. As they waited, they saw several dozen people fly right past, with one of them stopping. I thought I sensed something. The person said as he carefully looked into the forest before resuming his flight to meet up with his comrades. That was too close, everyone good. Jiraiya said as everyone got out of their hiding places. They can fly here, that's new. And did anyone catch how many they were? 30 of them, all of them having tails. Eagle said. Okay, that's not good. On our side the pond we only got at best less than 5 people who can fly, but here they got double digits. Dog said. Yeah, they already got air superiority, who knows what else. Jiraiya said. Let's take a proper look at that map. Eagle, keep an eye out for anyone else who's flying. Hi, Eagle said. As Minato was looking at the map, his mind was going over places that would be a good place for a village to be. It's hard to tell anything from this map other than how big it is, even the desert not on this, but let's head to the center and see if there's something there that may lead us somewhere. Till then, let's head along the desert, that way we can see if there's any settlement out here, while providing us some places to hide. Any objections? Minato said, getting no's from his team as they left on their scout mission looking for Naruto. Nighttime. Minato and his team have been traveling for several hours but stopped for the night. Alright everyone, we're stopping to make camp, get the tent set up, and I want a 2-hour guard rotation. Minato said, but as they were preparing to the tents, the clouds above them moved away from them, letting the moon show itself for all to see. The Leaf team of Anbu, unaware that the barren wasteland was used to help train students to control giant apes, as they moved into their tents hoping for a peaceful night. Some hours later. Hearing this, everyone woke up and darted out of their tents. Once they left the tents, their minds were shocked at what they seeing in front of them. Giant apes in the dozens scattered across desert popped out of nowhere, scaring the shits out of the team that was staring at them. What the fuck, where the hell did they come from and how can there be so many of them? Dog yelled. Eagle, how many now? Minato yelled. Guami one I can't do ots. Did that one just talk? Jiraiya said, confusing everyone who also heard it. Sir, 67 giants apes and 43 people hovering above them. Eagle yelled with shock. 67, how can that be, sir? We need to leave. We all know that one of them can rival the destructive of the tailed beasts, but 67 of them, I don't want to be anywhere near here. Dog said. They almost got it. Sensei, I got it, I finally got it. Weasel, hearing this, finally realized what was going on. Sir, they're using the desert as a training location. Weasel said, as everyone heard this they realized what was going on. Of course they would use a desert for training, hardly anyone would come out here. Everyone get your things, really. Minato stopped what he was saying as he saw behind his team a group of masked individual with a Sadala symbol. And raise your hands, we're surrounded. Minato said as his team took a defensive position around their Hokage. Minato Namikaze, 4th Hokage of Konoha, the Yellow Flash, pleasure to meet you, as I was expecting to meet and capture Jiraiya the Toad Sannin so that we can discuss an alliance of some sort. The lady who was hovering above them with the giant apes behind here. I got it, sensei. But now focus your power around yourself and force yourself into a smaller form. The instructor said as several apes started glowing across the desert and began shrinking themselves in front of the leaf shinobi, who shocked that such a thing was possible. They can do that, they can control themselves. Minato said as the number of apes that was there began shrinking down till there was only less than 15 remaining. Minato turned to the lady and asked one question. Who are you? My name is Maze Uchiha, General of Sadala's Armada, and I would like to say it's nice to meet you, father of Naruto Uzumaki. Maze said, getting shocks from the leaf shinobi. My son is here, is he okay? Minato said, trying to contain himself. He's fine, he's quite the prodigy. She said. Wait, prodigy, what do you mean? Naruto has no powers at all other than being a giant ape? Jiraiya said, getting laughs from the forces of Sadala. No powers? My, aren't you blind, my dear sweet Sannin? How do you explain my ability to fly right in front you then? One of the apes saw them and charged a blast from his mouth that was aimed right at them and unleashed it. Minato and his team saw it coming, but saw Maze not moving, but instead she stood in front of it. Sir, we got to get out of here before we die. Snake said. No, no one move at all, we'll be fine. Minato said as the blast was coming straight towards them. Maze raised her head in front of her, ready to block it with her hand. As the blast reached her hand stopped it where it was. Minato just stood where he was and just saw blast stopped right in front her hand. As the blast was weakening, Maze still didn't move. When the blast was gone, only her hand was there with steam coming off it. The ape said. We should move further into the forest just in case one of them decides to launch another attack. Maze said, getting nods of approval from the leaf shinobi, who were still shocked that she stopped the blast with a single hand. As the leaf ran into the forest with Sadala's own Anbu guiding them, several of them were thinking on what they just saw till Minato had enough and stopped and landed on the ground. Alright, I think we're safe enough now then. Is my son safe? Minato said, getting Maze to stop where she is and teleport in front of Minato, shocking him and the leaf team. Like I said, he's safe, he's with the rest of the Uzumakis and should be in his bedroom sleeping peacefully, well, sleeping at least. Maze said. What do you mean by that, is he safe or not? Minato said, letting Maze get a headache as she would have to repeat herself. The reason I said it like that was because your son Naruto has pent-up anger in himself that at the time you and ill family banished him was fear and sorrow, and for the past few months, he's been channeling his anger into his training, putting him near at the top of his class. Maze said, letting Minato know how badly his plan was for his son had gone. It wasn't supposed to be that way. I was supposed to get the kid and take him somewhere where he can live out his days in peace without anyone looking for him. That was the plan. Jiraiya said, seeing that his student was conflicted by what Maze said. And what do you mean by the rest of the Uzumakas? They're gone since the fall of Uzashigakure. He said. We saved as many as we could as the res led by Menma Uzumaki took up a final stand to buy time for their escape. She said. Wait, you saved them, how many did you save? Jiraiya asked. At the time we saved 80 of them, now there's over 100 of them being led by the current head of the clan and entrusted to that position by her older brother Menma Uzumaki. Maze stopped speaking, hoping for Jiraiya or Minato to figure out who the clan head was. You don't mean? Minato said as he began to realize who it was. Yes, Natsumi Uzumaki, current clan head and elder sister to Kushina Uzumaki. Maze said, getting another shock from Minato and Jiraiya, more so from Jiraiya as Natsumi was more of cockpuncher and she would not hold back. We'll let you rest here before taking to the village of Sadala. We need to talk about a student of yours that is causing trouble that everyone thinks is dead and the name he is going by now. Maze said. Wait, what do you mean by a student of mine? I only have the one since the last war. Minato said with sadness. No, Obito Uchiha is alive and well. He was spotted during the war running and trying to save Rin, but she died when she sacrificed herself by impaling on Kakashi's Chidori. Maze said. Wait, you mean Rin wasn't killed by Kakashi, and how did he survive that boulder? Og said. Kakashi didn't kill her, like I said, she sacrificed herself cause at the time, and from our intel, she was Jinchuriki of the Three Tails, and from our guessing, knew the seal was faulty and decided to end her life to save her village, but from what eyewitnesses saw at the time, she deliberately impaled herself. Maze said as Dog fell on his knees and removed his mask, showing who he was to everyone, and just cried. I thought killed her. Kakashi said as Snake put her hand on his shoulders. Kakashi, you mentioned Obito was going by another name, what is that? Minato said, looking at Maze. He had loads of questions going through his hand, but he had to know the name as the pieces began to fall into place. Obito saw Rin die with Kakashi Chidori through her chest, thinking he killed her, and through the years wondered why he wasn't punished for that, and thought Minato was playing favorites and decided to get back at the village in some twisted way, and there was only person who did something twisted years ago. Please, I might not like the answer, but please tell me what name is he going by? No, please. Maze looked at Minato and saw he wanted to answer to some puzzle that was forming in his head. He goes by the name Madara Uchiha. Chapter 5. Morning in the nation of Sadala. Minato and his team slept through the night under the watchful eye of Sadala Shinobi's forces, except for the general who returned back home, with their team taking guard duty through the night. Some of Minato's Anbu and Jiraiya himself tried talking to them to get any info out of them, but their counterparts remained quiet so as not spill any info they have. As the sun rose up and the team having then had breakfast afterwards. "Alright, we've been fed and watered, can you please take us to the village so that I can see my son," Minato said. "We've been told to lead you there, but in regards to your son, you must take that matter with the clan head Natsumi Uzumaki, as she has expressly forbidden you from doing so after what you've done to him." Sadala's shinobi said as they all wore the same mask with Sadala's symbol in black on it, only their hair and chest being the only way to tell them apart. Minato tried to gather more info from the person, but knew otherwise that it would get him nowhere. "Fine, is everyone ready? Kakashi, are you good?" Minato said looking at Kakashi, as it was pointless calling him by his Anbu name, as he removed his mask in front of unknown shinobi. "Yes sensei, I just need time to process what I heard last night, but I will do it when we get home," Kakashi said just as another Saiyan warrior with blue armor came to them. "Ichika Haddock, ma'am, I take it you're here to lead them to the village," the shinobi said, getting puzzled looks from their visitors. "Wait, did they just Haddock? There's Haddocks here," Snake said. "Yes and no, yes, I am from the Haddock clan like Kakashi is, but no, there isn't any more Haddocks here. Nice to finally meet you, brother Kakashi," Ichika said, getting absolute shocks from everyone who was from the Leaf. "Okay, that can't be right, I know that my father and I are the only ones from our clan, so how can you be my sister?" Kakashi asked, causing Jiraiya and Minato to think back when Minato was giving his team and Jiraiya thinking of Tsukumo Haddock. "Wait a minute now, I remember your mother gave birth to twins Kakashi, but one of them was born cursed, so they put her D. How did you survive?" Jiraiya asked with shock. "You're lucky I've been authorized to answer that question on the condition that you would not harm the person who saved not only me, but every other Saiyan that was born in Konoha. Agree?" Ichika said, getting nods from Minato who wanted to know the answer. Said Hokage, hearing it is much better than giving a nod, she said. "Agreed, we will not harm the person who saved you and anyone else who was born as cursed in the village," Minato said. "Good, it was Koji Ito, CEO at Konoha's general, who saved me, but putting me to sleep that would fool even Tsunade herself, then he would call us to pick up the baby and deliver him here to raised among us, and if they wanted to, they can become warriors of our nation or any other career path," Ichika said, getting more shocks from the Leaf. "Koji, then if I let Naruto die that night, he would have been here happy and safe," Minato said as fell to the ground knowing that his son was safe and sound in this nation. If he went through with the laws, Koji would have faked his death. "Do you know someone by the name of Satsuki Uchiha? Is she here? Is she safe?" Weasel said with hope. "Now why would you ask that specific question? Most likely Uchiha from the hair, and from that question, only 3 people would ask that, and your voice is young, so I would have to say Itachi Uchiha. Am I correct? Remove your mask, and I'll give you your answer," Ichika said, getting Weasel to remove his mask to show he really was Itachi, just so that he would get his answer. "Oh my, I'm right. In that case the answer is yes, she is alive and well and is at the Warriors Academy with Naruto and her friends," Ichika said as Weasel showed a smile as he nor his parents never got over the death of his sister but kept it hidden for Sasuke. "Alright then, if you want more answers you'll get them at the village. Now then follow me, it will take 3 days, maybe 2 if you want to hurry," Ichika said as she hovered into the direction towards the village. "We'll travel through the night if we have to," Minato said. "Or we could ask Gamabunta to take us there quicker," Jiraiya said, getting Minato to think for a minute. Afterwards he went through several hand signs. "Summoning jutsu," he said as he slammed his hand on the ground, causing a great amount of smoke to appear which later dispelled, revealing the Toad Chief himself. "Minato, my boy, why did you summon me here? Where is here anyhow? I don't recognize any landmarks," Gamabunta said as Minato went on one knee, knowing that what he was about to request would likely anger the Toad Chief. "Forgive me, Toad Chief Gamabunta, but we are in the nation of Sadala looking for my son who is here, and I need your help. I sort of need your help, me and my team, to get to their village quickly, as it would take days to get there," Minato said as Gamabunta gave him a glare that said, "Are you serious?" But then his eyes turned to the floating individual in front of him. "And who are you, lady, who from the looks of it is floating in front of me? You must be strong if you can do that," Gamabunta said. "Actually, this just basic that is taught at the academy for the first years, and my name is Ichika Haddock and I'm an officer in Sadala's army," she said, getting shocks from the Leaf Shinobi as the power of flight was a basic ability to them. "Very well, Minato, I let your team on my back just this once, it's nice to go somewhere new," Gamabunta said as Minato thanked him as his team and himself were on his back. "Alright then, follow me," Ichika said as she flew towards the village with the Toad Chief following her. Several hours later. "The village is just past the mountain wall up front, there's an entrance leading into the village in the mountain," she said. Sorry, but I don't think that I'll fit through that. I just hop on top of the mountain so that I can see where I can land. Gamabunta said as he landed on top of the mountain. Ichika would have stopped him, but the toad made a good point about being too big for the tunnel. Damn, now that's a hidden village. The whole place is surrounded by the mountains hiding it from everywhere else. Nice. How old is the village anyway? Gamabunta said as he saw that there was hundreds of buildings littered across the place with a nice lake in the center. Gamabunta could also see several large buildings with clan symbols that he and the leaf recognized, which shocked them. Wait a minute, how many Uchihas, Hyugas, Uzumakis, and is that the Senjus? How many people do you have? Jiraiya said as seeing the clan symbols he knew instantly that the shinobis Sadala had were strong, especially as the Senju had wood style. The answer to the toad is that the village is about over 300 years old. The village is a safe place for the Saiyan race to grow, or anyone else looking for a safe haven. As for the other question, you would find out at the council meeting. And finally, the lake is freshwater, so you should be fine to land there, great toad chief. Ichika said as Gamabunta took a final hop towards the lake, but not before thanking her for showing respect. As he landed, pillars of wood emerged from the lake, trapping the giant toad, as several water dragons also emerged, but they just stood around him waiting for something. What the hell, this ain't good, Minato. They got good, Gamabunta said as he couldn't move. Ichika, what's the meaning of this? I thought we would come here under peace, Minato yelled. The toad chief must have spooked our shinobi forces by his landing. Don't worry, I got this. Shinobi of Sadala, stand down. They are here under a banner of peace offered by our general. As soon as she said that, the water dragons dispersed and the wooden pillars were gone, freeing the toad chief. A single shinobi appeared in front of Gamabunta. Our apologizes, great toad chief, but your arrival spooked us, he said as he disappeared. I gotta say, they know how to show respect, and I can understand. I did just appear out of nowhere. Minato, do you need anything else from me? He said. No, Gamabunta, and I thank you for the lift. I'll make sure to send you a couple of barrels of sake as a thank you, Minato said as Gamabunta nodded before dispelling himself back to Toad Mountain as the team jumped off him, landing on the lake. Minato looked around a bit looking for the Uzumaki symbol and headed towards it, hoping to find Naruto. Damn it, he was told that he had to speak to Natsumi first. I get it, they had a plan. Ichika thinking to herself, who teleported in front of them, stopping them. Please move, I need to see my son, Minato said with anger. Okay, two things first. First, your son is at the academy now training, and second, you need to ask Natsumi for permission. She is his legal guardian, since you banished him, or have you forgotten that? Ichika said, making Minato drop his head in shame. I haven't forgotten, he said as a redeeded appeared next to Ichika, bringing confusion to the leaf. Kushina, what are you doing? Natsumi, so it is true you and the other Uzumakis did survive when Uzushiogakure fell. Minato said as he looked at her, but he only saw anger in her eyes when she stared back before looking at Jiraiya, who was sweating bullets. Hi Natsumi, nice to see you after so long. How are things doing for you? Jiraiya said, trying his best to set her off. Doing much better ever since Adala rescued us from the assault from Kumo, Iwa and Kiri on our homeland. Even have a son named after my brother who sacrificed himself so that we could get here. Speak of the war where the bloody hell was Konoha. Don't we have an alliance, or was my sister all you wanted just so that you can have your Priacus weapon? Nat yelled, which got the leaf trembling in fear as her chains came out of her back, only to be stopped by Minato, who appeared in front of her. Please, we're sorry we couldn't be there to help yous, but Iwa and Kumo stalled us greatly, and by the time we did make it was too late, and for that we apologize. Minato said as he and his team bowed in front of her, causing her reconsider her stance on them. Your luck, Sadala's intelligence is on your side on that matter. As for Naruto, the general told me why you banished him, so here's a question for yous, why did yous neglect him at all? Nat said with anger. Me and Kushina decided it was for the best that we ignored him, so that when the time came to banish him, he would take much easier, as he would assume that we never loved him at all, making it easier for him to move on with his life. We hated what we had to do, but it was for the best. Minato said as tears fell down his face. Oh, for the love of Kami, if what you are saying is true, then I would permit entry into our compounds to prove it, and if what you say is true, then I let you see Naruto, but know this, he will kick your ass, so my advice before that happens is be a man and take the beating. Speaking of beatings. Nat said as she turned to Jiraiya as put her hands into fists while moving towards him. Time for someone to his punishment for the spying in the hot springs back at Uzushiogakure. She said, just as Jiraiya was about to run away, he was restrained by his teammates. What the hell, why are yous helping here? He said. Oh, let's just say that this is for all times you've been caught spying on the ladies and getting away from. Snake Anbu said, also getting a nod from Eagle, just as Jiraiya turned to face Nat, hoping to talk his way out of it. It was too late as Nat punched him in the family crowns very hard and getting a girl scream from him in return as he fell into the lake. Don't worry about him, as soon as he gets out of the lake our shinobi will take him to our compound, follow me. Nat said, getting nods from everyone. As they made their way to the compound, they saw several Hyugas walk past them with no marks on their foreheads. I take it there's a main branch and a side branch here too, Eagle asked. No, there is only one branch of the clan, and that is the clan itself. They came to Sadala during the clan wars, when one of them had a Saiyan baby with them, and Sadala offered them a place to call home without fear of that controlling mark that your clan does. As for the others, they faked their deaths and came here to live in peace away from all that conflict. Nat said as they made their way into the compound and into the hall where there was a pedestal and an orb in the middle. If what you say is true, Minato, then place your hand on the orb and think back on those memories, Nat said as she gestured to the orb. What is it? Minato asked. It uses the hidden mist jutsu to show what memories is viewed by the person who places his hand on the orb. Naruto did it, and from it, we saw how he was banished to Kushina, slapping him, and the neglect he suffered from you. From those memories, we of the Uzumaki clan adopted Naruto and gave him back his Uzumaki name, and we also banished Kushina from our clan for forgetting what it means to be a Uzumaki. Nat said, getting a shocked look from Minato. Why would you do that? Isn't Kushina the princess of Uzashigakure and head of the clan? Minato said, getting laughs from the rest of the Uzumakis who were there. Uzashigakure doesn't have a monarch, it never did. As for the princess, do you call your daughter princess at times? Nat said as Minato realized what that meant, as he sometimes would call Natsumi his princess. But you realize that, and as for the head of the clan, that title is passed to me from our brother and approved by our clansmen. You see, to be the head of our clan, you need to be selected and voted by the clan for that title. As for Kushina, the moment she was chosen to be the Jinchuriki of the Fox, she lost the right to be selected as clan head, as a Jinchuriki belongs to the village. It's cruel what they do to Jinchurikis. Nat said, feeling sad at the end of it. As for you claiming that the Namikas are a clan is laughable, Minato. Nat was interrupted. Please Nat, go easy on the Hokage, at least let's see the memories before you tear him up, Maze said as walked up to her. Fine, Nat said as she gestured Minato to the pedestal. Don't do it, kid, we don't know what they say is true, all we know that orb could make you their slave, Jiraiya said as came behind Maze. Minato thought long and hard, but he had to know if Naruto was safe and if Obito was alive. Jiraiya, I'm doing this, there must be a reason why they showed us their village, let alone their nation, they want something from us. Minato said as he placed his hand on the orb and thought back to when Kushina and Minato decided to ignore Naruto. Mist immediately started spewing out from orb as Minato remembered what happened. Flashback. Minato, Jiraiya and Kushina were in the study, looks of shame began to cross their faces. Is there no other way? Kushina said. There isn't, everyone knows what Naruto is, which is way the moment Jiraiya finds a safe place for him he will be banished and his death faked so that no one would come looking for him just to use him against the hidden leaf. He will be safe and sound away from this cruel world of ours. Minato said as tears began to fill up. But do we have to ignore my little Maelstrom till then? I was raised to always love family, and what I'm about to do will break everything that I was raised to believe. If I do that, then I'm no longer in Uzumaki. Kushina said as she cried as she embraced Minato, who cried as well. I'll start looking for that safe place, the moment I do we'll banish him, Jiraiya said as a single tear fell down his face. Flashback ends. Minato then remembered the moment before Naruto was banished. Flashback. Jiraiya found a place for Naruto, now comes the hard part, are you ready, Kushina? Minato said as he looked at Kushina. Yes, I'm ready, Natsumi is already in the hall waiting for us, and Naruto, she doesn't know about the plan, does she? Kushina said. I'm afraid not, ever since Danzo talked to her about being a Jinchuriki and how the leaf must be the strongest sign, then she only views strength as the only way to peace, not only that, but she views Naruto as a disgrace and a monster. Minato said with anger. If Naruto decides to question us on why he's being banished or clan head, which neither of us are because of how low our numbers are, I'll slap him. She said as she tried her hardest not to cry there and now. Flashback ends. He then remembered what happened after that meeting. Flashback. Kushina and Minato were in the study in each other's arms, Kushina crying heavy and loud. What kind of mother am I for slapping her children, Kushina said while crying. You did what you had to, now it's up to Jiraiya now, Minato said as he couldn't contain himself and let the tears fall down as well. Flashback ends. Everyone was shocked at what they saw, the lengths that Minato and Kushina would go to protect Naruto. As everyone took a moment to process what they saw, someone walked up to Minato, who turned to face them and was shocked to see who it was. You did all that, the neglect, the banishment and mom slapping me to protect me, Naruto said. Son, you're alive, Minato said with his hand still on the orb, playing one last memory. It was of them playing in the backyard as a family. As Minato moved his hand and made his way to Naruto, Naruto instead decided to kick him in the stomach, and as Minato was bent over from that kick, Naruto did a spinning motion and landed another kick into Minato's face, sending him straight into Jiraiya's arms, who caught, but the force of the catch sent back several feet. Damn kid, hell of a kick, not surprised you did that, Jiraiya said as he gently laid Minato on the floor as Eagle came up to perform medical ninjutsu. Naruto, what are you doing here? You should be at the academy, Nat said. I forgot my homework and the academy doesn't start yet, so when I came back to get it, I saw father come into the compound with you, so I snuck in to see what was going on, Naruto said. If you told me what the plan was, it would have been made easier, you idiot, Naruto yelling at Minato and Jiraiya. Naruto, get your homework and head back to the academy, but before you enter the classroom take a couple of deep breaths, okay, Nat said. Oh god, hell of a kick, I'm sorry son, Minato said as he stood back up. Naruto ignored his father and instead made his way to get his homework instead. Easy kid, remember the last time you took a blow like that was when I was training you, Jiraiya said as he helped Minato up. Right then, now that is over and seeing I was expecting you about 2 days from I have someone take your team to an inn so they can rest till then and for you to recover. Mei said as several shinobi appeared around the team showing them where to go. Not yet, Jiraiya, here, take this, and though it when you get to the inn, okay, I got to let Kushina know about this, Minato said as he gave Jiraiya one of his kunai as he teleported away. Okay, now where are the hot springs, Jiraiya said with a perverted grin, only have a dozen blades at his throat. Just remember Toad Sage, we're watching you, Sadala's shinobi said. At Konoha, in the Hokage resident. Minato teleported into the hall, he collapsed on the floor in front of Kushina, who was doing a bit of cleaning. Minato, sweetie, what happened? Shikaku only said that you were gone to explore some hidden nation, Kushina said as she lifted Minato up. I found him, Kushina, I found Naruto, he said as Kushina was filled with shock and accidentally dropped him. Oh sorry sweetie, is Naruto fine, she said as she dragged him to the living room where he saw Makoto Uchiha, who was confused on what was going on. Yes, Naruto is safe and sound, turns out that Sadala is some kind of safe haven for anyone wanting to hide, damn Naruto, you some kick. Minato said as he got puzzled looks. Listen, Sadala is a nation full of people like Naruto, Koji Ito, head of Konoha General, has faking the deaths of cursed infants, when in truth he's been putting them to sleep so that Sadala would send someone to come and collect, he's been doing it for years, hell even Kakashi's twin sister is there. Minato said as he sat down as the ladies were in shock in at hearing the news. Okage, please tell me, I know you just got bomb. Makoto was interrupted by Minato. Yes, Makoto, your daughter Satsuki Uchiha is alive and well, and so are the 80 Uzumakis they saved from Yasushi Agakure, whose numbers are at 100, they're being led by your sister Kushina Natsumi Uzumaki. Chapter 6. Hokage Residence. Minato was sitting in the living room with Kushina and Makoto, as everyone needed to sit down after what Minato just said about Makoto's daughter Satsuki being alive, as were the Uzumakis and Naruto. Minato, please tell me, is Naruto safe, Kushina said. Yes, Naruto is alive and it was our son who kicked me twice, don't blame him after what we did, Minato said as he rubbed his cheek that was swollen. And what, Satsuki, is she safe and sound too, Makoto said. All I know is that she is alive and well at the Warriors Academy with Naruto and her friends, Minato said, getting a sigh of relief from Makoto. Wait, did you say Warriors Academy? Is that different than the academy here, Kushina said. It could be, they didn't share that much about Kushina. Go to council chambers, I'll tell Shikaku to arrange a council meeting. Sadala's arranging an alliance with us, their plan was to capture Jiraiya to arrange one, but since I arrived that changes things from my team has seen everything has changed. Minato said as he got up and teleported away leaving the women alone, but only for a moment as Makoto got up. Kushina, thank you for the tea, but I got to see Fugaku about this and tell him our daughter is alive, hopefully I'll ask him to bring me to the meeting. Makoto said, getting a nod from Kushina. Hokage's office. Shikaku was lazing around the office doing nothing about from issuing orders to shinobi and not doing the paperwork as that requires Minato's signature. Just as he was about to put his feet up, Minato teleported in front of him. Shikaku, order a council meeting immediately. Seriously, you didn't do any paperwork at all, Minato said as saw the stacks of paperwork in front of him. What a drag, I was just getting comfortable, the paperwork needed your signature not mine, Shikaku said as he got up and went about setting up the meeting and just smiled as Minato whispered, lazy bastard. Minato, knowing it would take a while for the meeting to get underway, went back to his desk and did the one thing he hated, which was paperwork, but not before making 2 shadow clones to help with it, as well as ordering Anbu to bring Koji Ito and Lady Tsune to the council meeting. Council meeting. The council chambers is divided into 3 sections, the right for the shinobi clan heads, which was composed of Akimichi, Aburame, Hyuga, Inyazuka, Nara, Uchiha, Yamanaka, while the left was comprised of the civilian side, which only had 3, which were Haruno, Sato and Tanaka, while the middle section was for the Hokage and the elders. Alright, is everyone seated, Minato said, getting nods from everyone. Why is your and Fugaku wives doing here, and why is Koji Ito and Lady Tsune doing here as well? This is a council meeting, Danzo said. I asked Kushina and Lady Tsune to be here because it involves them. As for Makoto, I can only guess that she is here because she told Fugaku about their daughter being alive when I told her early today, am I correct, Minato said, getting a nod from the both of them. As for Koji Ito, it would seem that Koji has been in contact with another village and has been sending them our infants that were supposed to have died when they are born, is that correct Koji Ito? Minato said, getting shocks that turned into anger at Koji. Koji, how could you betray us? Haruno said. You've been sending our infants to another village, Sato said. They were supposed to be dead. I'm sorry, what did you just say? Hokage Tanaka said, confusing as were the other civilians as well, except for the shinobi who heard every word that came out of Minato's mouth. Every time a cursed child is born and when Koji is assigned to put them sleep forever he doesn't, he just makes sure it's enough to fool everyone else and then he contacts Sadala, who then sends someone to retrieve the infant, am I correct Koji? Minato said with a smile. Well, looks like the jig is up then, and from that smile of yours you not mad about it, Hokage Koji said. Wait a minute Koji, you never killed any of those infants, Tsunade said as she never wanted the position to head of the hospital as it would mean it would be her job to end the life of a cursed child when they are born. Of course not, you fool, I'm a doctor, not a monster. Hell, even my predecessor was doing this before I took over, but it was difficult to get in contact with Sadala at the time. Koji said, getting both a shock and angry look from Tsunade for the fool comment. This Sadala has been mentioned twice and from how you said it I take it's a nation, Shikaku said. Yes, this nation was formed over 300 years ago if what they claim is true and has been taking any refugees and not just cursed children ever since, Minato said. Excuse me Hokage, can you please call them Saiyans? That's what they are actually called and it's way less offensive than cursed, Koji said. Why should we? They are cursed seeing that they have no chakra, no powers, can change in murderous beasts when a full moon is shown, Homura said. Also Hokage, how did you come across this nation anyhow? I've never heard of it and I don't, anyone has either, Kaharu said. Minato took a deep breath. Know what he was about to say would be difficult to do. Ever since our son Naruto was born cursed, or as Koji and several of that nation residents like to call themselves Saiyans, myself, Kushina and Jiraiya, knew that one day Naruto would either been killed by the law or banished from this nation to avoid being used against Konoha, and try as we did Naruto couldn't use any techniques we taught him, so we decided to find a safe place for him to live out the rest of his life in peace, and for that to happen, we had to ignore him so that he wouldn't have any attachments to us when we did banish him and when Naruto questioned us on that matter. Minato stopped as he knew it wouldn't be easy for him. I slapped him in anger. It was the heartless thing I ever did and I wished I never had to do that, but I had to so that Naruto would move on, Kushina said, letting a tear fall down. Kushina, you actually did that, Tsume said as she knew that would have been the hardest thing a mother had to do. Yes, I did and I hate myself for that, Kushina said. While Naruto was banished, he disappeared after a day. Even the Anbu I asked to look after him till Jiraiya got to him were knocked out, and by the time they woke up he was gone. After Jiraiya came to me, asking where Naruto was, did I ask him to go find him, but he disappeared of the map, and the only thing that Jiraiya found was 2 pieces of information that had a low chance of finding him. The first was seeing 2 cursed or Saiyan adults holding an infant and then flying away like the current Tsuchikage does. Minato stopped as people began laughing at what he said. Flying them, hahaha, Sato said. That's a good one, Hokage, hahaha, Tanaka said. Would you stop laughing? He isn't lying, you morons, Haruno said as her other counselors stopped laughing as they saw their shinobi counter not laughing one bit. How did you know I wasn't lying, Haruno, Minato asked. Oh please, I do the trading for the village, have a retired shinobi for a husband, live in a shinobi village, and have trying to teach my daughter how to tell if someone is lying. Haruno said, getting some smiles from the shinobi side. Are you telling us that these Saiyans can fly? Minato Danzo said. Yes, and where they were flying to was away from Earth Country heading east. The next bit of info was a merchant spotting an unknown group of Anbu leaving Kiri with a symbol on their masks heading south near east, while also saying the intel they got has to report it back to Sadala at once. I would like to ask the elders in the room, especially Danzo, what he would do with this information. Minato stopped so that the elders would answer the question. Any information, not matter how small, must be investigated. I take it that's how you found the nation in the small place, Danzo said, getting nods from Kaharu and Himeru. Yes, I sent Jiraiya to investigate. He managed to acquire a map from possible one of the merchants that trades from the nation. Minato said as he clapped his hands, bringing 2 Anbu into the room, who he then ordered to bring in another desk with a world map on it. As you can see, this is the world map with all the nations on it, except Sadala's, as they managed to hide themselves very well, and here is the map that is the nation of Sadala. Minato said as he placed the map of Sadala next to world map and where it was, getting slight MMMs everyone. How sure are you on the size of the nation? Minato Danzo said. Jiraiya summoned Gamabunta, the Toad chief, to take us their village, who managed to make it after several hours of hopping. All it takes for Gamabunta to travel the distance of our nation is just 1 hour, and remember it took him several hours to reach their village. Minato said as the shocks were finally starting to come out. How did no one notice that size of landmass? I mean you can easily fit several great nations into it, Haruno asked, getting similar responses from everyone else as well. That is the same thing I said as well when I first saw it. Afterwards Jiraiya threw one of my kunai to signal me and my team there to investigate, but we immediately had to hide as a patrol came right over us, and what was worse was that this patrol was full of 30 Saiyans that were flying. Minato said as people began to realize that maybe there was more to the curse than being a giant monkey. After they left we traveled along the desert region along the forest to the center, hoping it was the best chance of find their village, but as night fell, and as we stopped for the night we saw nearly 70 giant apes in the desert. Minato stopped as he saw the look of fears in everyone's eyes. One giant ape is troublesome, but 70 that's a damn nightmare. How did you survive? Shikaku said. Easily. Actually the people there use the desert or the barren wasteland to not train techniques, but to also control the giant ape form as well. Minato said as everyone began to process the horror of that idea. Please tell me that's not possible, Sato said as fear began to hold of him. I'm afraid it is possible, as I and the rest of the team heard several of them saying they got it, showing they got complete control over the giant ape form. Are you saying that there's another nation several times larger than our own, with hundreds of cursed people who can fly, and that they can control the giant ape forms? Danzo said as he both liked that idea and feared it. Yes, just as I was about to command the team to go deeper into the forest I meet their general, and several of their shinobis. The general managed to stop the blast from one of the apes who nearly lost control with her own hand, like it was nothing. Minato stopped. Oh, you meet General Maze Uchiha, heard she's nice, Koji said, getting shocks from everyone. What a minute, did you say Maze Uchiha? Uchiha in another nation, and how did she manage to stop that blast? Koharu said. I don't know how she did that, but they have not only the Uchihas, but also Hyugas, Senjus and Uzumaki survivors from Yuzushiogakure as well, and our son Naruto as well, Minato said as everyone stopped breathing, not from Naruto part, but from the clans that Minato said were there. We know this as we saw several large buildings with clan symbol on them. Not only that, but the team saw several Hyugas without the branch seal on them. Apparently they left clan during the clan wars to get away from that seal in the first place, and Sadala welcomed them when one their own was out looking for cursed infants at the time. And as soon as Gamabunta landed on their lake he was trapped with wood style and several water dragons. Minato said as everyone trying to process that part. They have actually Senjus there, Tsunade said as began to realize she had more family out there. Yes they do, and the Uzumakis are being led by Kushina's older sister Natsumi Uzumaki, who adopted Naruto in the clan. Minato said. So we have a very large nation who possess cursed people or Saiyans who can fly, who can control their giant ape forms, the Uchihas, Hyugas, Senjus and Uzumakis, and who knows what else. This can't be good. We can't force them to bend to our will, and we can't send anyone from our Hyugas clan to put the seal on them, knowing full well that the Uzumakis will just remove them easily. It might be in our best option to form an alliance then. Enzo said. That's why they leaked the information on where they are to Jiraiya on the hopes they would capture him to arrange an alliance with us, seeing that Obito Uchiha is alive. Minato said with sadness, but everyone was shocked at what he said. Wait a moment, what do you mean Obito is alive? He died during near the end of the war, Fugaku said with shock. No, he was spotted by some passing Sadala's warriors, that's what they call themselves, as they were carrying an infant with them. They saw Obito trying to save Rin when she sacrificed herself by impaling on Kakashi's Chidori. After seeing something like that, Obito definitely believes that Kakashi did that on purpose, and I let him live for some reason, and Obito would most likely. Minato was interrupted by Fugaku, who knew what he was going to say. He would most likely go down Madara Uchiha's path of hatred, and there's a good chance that he might be responsible for the release of the fox all those years ago. Fugaku said with sadness, know that it was his clan who caused the Nine Tails rampage. Normally I would tend to challenge such shaky intel, especially from another nation, but seeing that we didn't recover the body, there is a chance that he is alive, and not only that, but I believe I may know why they're requesting an alliance with us, Danzo said, getting an eye on him. It has not only come to our Hokage's attention but mine as well that the Mizukage is letting his power go to his head, spouting nonsense that bloodline is evil and whatnot. Not only but the change is too quick to it to be madness, which leaves some sort of Jinjutsu, but seeing that the Mizukage is also a Jinchuriki of the Three Tails, placing a Jinjutsu on such a person is extremely difficult for even the top Jinjutsu masters, except for one who managed to control the Nine Tails, who is none other than Madara Uchiha. And if I were living next to so-to-be madman with power of a nation, I would find a way to remove the Jinjutsu, but I don't know how to, but I do know of one village that might have it. Danzo stopped letting everyone figure it out. The hidden leaf with the Sharingan and the clan who possess it, Nara said. Exactly, seeing that this nation has managed to remain hidden for so long and the Uchihas they probably aren't as skilled with their Sharingan as we are, that is why they are wanting an alliance with us for the secrets our Uchiha possess. They definitely have more firepower than us and more land mass to move around, but we do have the advantage when it comes to setting up this alliance in our favor. Danzo said, getting smiles from his fellow elders. Oh, and what are you wanting from this alliance? Danzo, Minato said, looking at Danzo, watching him carefully. Perhaps we can have some of the Senjus move over here to replenish our own, seeing that our own princess has been doing her job recently. Danzo said, looking at Tsunade, who glared back him with anger. Seeing that it would extremely difficult to extract one of the cursed children from the nation without getting spotted, it would even more difficult just trying to find one that can control the giant ape form. I have no choice but to go with this alliance anyway. Sadala's is separated from us by that vast ocean anyhow. Danzo thinking of a way to harness the power of the cursed but Sadala's location, and finding one is proving more difficult to him for the time being. Maybe I'll see what they can offer in exchange. Koji, I take it you have a means to contact Sadala, Minato said. Yes I do, but it's only a button that lets them know when to pick up an infant. They didn't want me to spy on Yus at all in case I was caught and the next head of general would actually kill the infants. Koji said. Wise of them on that part, Kaharu said. Very well, I can see what I can do about arranging this alliance, but they might not go for the Senju, and if that happens, I think of something else to tempt them and try to find out what else these Saiyans can do. Minato said as he felt a ping from one of his kunais in Sadala, causing him to teleport to its location. And there he goes, couldn't he have said that the meeting was ever before doing that? Such a drag. Shikaku said. Just as he said drag, Minato teleported back with Jiraiya was lightly beaten up. God damn it, sensei, I can't leave you 5 minutes alone in another nation without you getting into trouble. Minato said, looking angrily at Jiraiya. What did you do this time, pervert? Tsunade said. He was supposed to be at the inn with the team, but instead one of their shinobis threw the kunai after finding him at the hot springs. Minato said, getting a sheepish look from Jiraiya. Damn pervert, we're trying to make an alliance here, but you're making it worse. Minato, take me to Sadala, maybe I can make it work. Kushina said, but saw sadness in Minato's eyes. What's the matter, Minato? She said. They have an orb that uses the hidden mist jutsu to show memories from whoever places their hand on it. When Naruto first arrived, he placed his hand over it and he showed him what we did in response to that. They banished you from the clan, Kushina. Minato said, but all he saw from Kushina was nothing. Kushina, he said. I would do the same thing in their position. I abandoned my belief that family is everything to an Uzumaki, and I threw it away even if it meant protecting Naruto. She said. But I'm still going, she said. Minato knew it was stupid to fight her once she made her mind up. Fine, I'll take you there, but avoid Naruto, he packs a mean kick, Minato said as still felt that kick. Tell me about it, kid, those kicks were flawless. I can see why Naruto is a prodigy over there, Jiraiya said, but suddenly felt a hand on his shoulder from Tsunade. Please, I'm not you too, I already got punched in the by Natsumi, I don't need another one, he said, getting a small laugh from the women in the room. Oh yeah, I forgot that my sister is a cock puncher when it comes to perverts, Kushina with a giggle. Fine then, Jiraiya, I leave you be. Minato, take me with you, I'll help with the negotiations, it'll be nice to meet some more of my family, Tsunade said, getting a nod from Minato. Chapter 7. Nation of Sadala. The Warriors Academy Courtyard. The Warriors Academy is the place to train Saiyans who are taught how to tap into their power, how to fight, live of the land if need be, and receive an education in case they wish to go down another career path other than a warrior of Sadala, as sometimes being in the military is not for everyone. In the courtyard, Naruto is practicing his kicks and punches while floating in the air while maintaining his balance, as it can be hard for the first-timers to do both. His friends looking at him noticed that he wasn't focusing as his punches became sloppy and his kicks were throwing his balance off, causing him to tumble over easily. Okay Naruto, what's wrong with you? Fasha said. Yeah, you nearly lost your balance again, that's 5 times already, Kale said. Nothing's wrong with me, okay, Naruto said. Oh really then, Khalifa said as she launched a punch into Naruto's face, sending him to the ground. Serious, you should have tanked that blow, but you fell, now spill it or I'll send another punch, Khalifa said. Naruto knew she meant as she was more of tomboy than anyone else he knew of, but he actually liked her that way. Okay, you win. I saw my dad at the Uzumaki compound when I went back to get my homework, Naruto said, getting nervous looks from everyone. So I sneaked in and saw my dad's memories thanks to the Uzumaki orb, and it turns out. Naruto stopped as the next party was still processing it. It turns out that it was all a part of their plan to get me somewhere safe to live out the rest of my days in peace. That's why they ignored me, that's why they banished me, and that's why my mom slapped me. It was all to make sure that I never wanted to go back there again, and I'm still processing that. Naruto finished what he said as he shed a single tear. Damn, they went that far to protect you, Gina said. So, you came back here after you saw that? If I saw that I would have kicked him for that, Khalifa said. Actually, that's exactly what I did twice, Naruto said, getting a small laugh from Khalifa. He should have seen that coming, Jian said. Yeah, anyway, I think I know how to get you back to being normal again, Naruto Caulifla said. Oh, and what's thaw? Naruto again didn't finish that sentence as he had to dodge the punch from Caulifla. Of course that's how. Why aren't the instructors stopping this, Naruto said as kept dodging Caulifla's kicks. Because they gave us the go-ahead for this, Jin said as she joined Caulifla in attacking Naruto, who looked at the instructors and saw smiles coming from their faces. Of course they will, Naruto said as he kept dodging the combined attacks from Jin and Caulifla. Just as Naruto was about to launch a counter-offense, he was kicked in the stomach by Kale, launching him to Fasha, who kicked him into the ground. As Naruto got back up, he spit out some blood from mouth. The instructors seeing this were a bit worried, but it was for nothing as they saw a smile from Naruto, showing that he was okay. 4 against 1, bad odds, but then again, how else are we supposed to get stronger, Naruto said with a smile, as did his friends. Aka Konoha. Council chambers. Alright, then I head back with Tsunade and Kushina to arrange an alliance with them, Minato said, getting nods from everyone else. Remember to demand they send over the Senjus over to us, Hokage Danzo said, getting a sigh from everyone. Danzo, I'm not going to do that, because if the other villages get wind of a sudden surge in Senjus, they might figure out that Sadala exists, and they might just lead to another war. Their secrecy is what kept them safe. Minato said, getting nods from everyone. We will head over there to arrange this alliance in hopes of shared intelligence. We can't exchange people or demand them, as the Uchihas, Hyugas and Senjus over there split off from us because of the clan wars, and to get away from being branded, they also saved our allies the Uzumakis, who we should have been there to help them, but was stopped by Iwa and Kumo. Not only that, but a lost student of mine is causing problems over at Kiri, and there's a chance that Kiri might find out about Sadala, and when that happens, it would be us who first formed an alliance with them, understood? Minato said, getting a grudging nod from Danzo. Alright then, Kushina, Tsunade, get ready, I'll be heading back in an hour, Minato said. I'm going to, Mikoto said, getting looks from everyone. Are you sure, Mikoto? Minato said. Yes, I am sure. I can help with arranging this alliance as I have the Mangekyo Sharingan. I had it when I lost Satsuki. I have studied the techniques that goes with it. With me there we can produce a countermeasure to use on the Mizukage and possible from any other attacks from Obito as well. Mikoto said, but Minato knew she wanted to see her daughter Satsuki, but then again she was an Uchiha and still is a Kunoichi of the Leaf, so maybe it would be good to send her as well. Very well, you have 1 hour. When you are ready, meet me in my office, Minato said, getting a nod from Mikoto. Council dismissed. Hour later at the Hokage office. Alright, is everyone ready? Minato said, getting nods from Tsunade, Kushina and Mikoto as they put their hand on his shoulder. Minato, keep an eye on our daughter. I don't want Danzo to be near here, Kushina said. Don't worry, I put a team of Anbu near her with orders to stop Danzo from getting near her, Minato said, getting a small smile as they disappeared in a flash. Nation of Sadala. Minato teleported just beside the inn where his team is staying. As he teleported, he saw Kakashi having a chat with his sister Ichika. Kakashi, how are things going since I left? Minato said. Much better now that Jiraiya left. Lady Tsunade, Lady Kushina and Lady Mikoto, welcome to Sadala, Kakashi said. So this is Sadala, I take it the mountains act as the wall then, Lady Tsunade said as she saw them. Yep, the only construction they did to the mountains were the tunnels leading into the village, Kakashi said. I see, and I take it you're already chatting up the girls around here. Such a shame you don't do that at home, Kushina said, getting a laugh from Ichika and Minato, except for Kakashi, who was red with embarrassment. Haha, oh, it's nothing like that, I'm his twin sister, she said, getting some shocks from the ladies. Of course I remember Sakumo having twins, and at the time Koji would just been in charge of the hospital, and that's how you survived, Tsunade said. Correct, Lady Tsunade, Ichika said as the other ladies took a long look at her and came to one conclusion about her, other than her being more muscular than them, and that was power. They could feel the power rolling off her, and this made them be on guard. I didn't know you ladies go both ways. I'm flattered, but I don't play for the other team, I'm afraid, she said, getting the ladies reeled back in embarrassment, except Minato, who had perverted idea in his head. No, it's not like that, both Mikoto, Kushina said, getting a laugh from Tsunade. Haha, you're a laugh, also forgive me, but we haven't been properly introduced, Lady Tsunade. Senju the slug Sanin, Tsunade said. Ichika Haddock, an officer of Sadala's warriors, and your reputation already precedes you, Lady Tsunade, slug queen, Sanin, and your skill with medical ninjutsu is beyond anyone even here in Sadala. Our skill in the field are nowhere near yours. Ichika said as she bowed in front of Tsunade, who smiled. Thank you for the compliment, and there's no need to be formal, I'm not into that respectable stuff anyhow, she said. I'll remember that in the future. For now though, I have just explained to Kakashi here that the meeting for the planned alliance will be happening tomorrow. Ichika said, getting nods from the ladies and Minato. Understandable since we only just met yesterday. Minato said. In the meantime, can you tell me where Satsuki Uchiha is? Mikoto said. I take it you're her mother. That Hokage is a lightweight if that is all it takes to bring you here, Ichika said. That is one of the reasons why I'm here, but the other reason is to sort out the Mizukage problem that is happening, Mikoto said, getting a look from Ichika who put a hand on her chin thinking. Of course losing your daughter will trigger the Mangekyo reaction in the Sharingan, that is if you already fully awakened the Sharingan, Ichika said, getting nod from Mikoto. Just as Ichika was about to tell Mikoto where Satsuki was, someone teleported near them. As they looked at the person, Ichika immediately stood straight and made her right a fist and pasted on her right chest. General, Ichika said with strength as the ladies looked at her. As they looked at the general, they immediately felt power coming off her. Stand down, Ichika. I sensed Minato coming back, so I came to check on him and see if he brought any guests with him. Really, you brought Kushina with you? I take it that kick to the head from Naruto must have scrambled your brain. Kushina, nice to meet you. I'm Maze Uchiha, general of Sadala's armada. Maze said. Kushina Uzumaki, or at least I was in Uzumaki. Is Naruto doing okay? Kushina said, getting a sigh from Maze. Yes, he is fine, and if you want to see him you must see Nat. She's his legal guardian, understand? Maze said, getting a nod from Kushina. Damn, no wonder you're a general. I can feel the power coming off you. Tsunade Senju, nice to meet you, Tsunade said, as put her hand out to shake Maze's hand, which Maze did. Nice to meet you, Tsunade Senju, General Maze Uchiha, and having power is half the job, the other is having brains and how to use it, Maze said as she got a laugh from Tsunade. Ah, so very true, I knew that I like you, Tsunade said, getting a smile of Maze. Kushina, is that you? Everyone turned to whoever said that. When they did, they someone looking like Kushina, but Kushina herself knew who she was and ran towards her and engulfed her in very tight hug, but the person returned equally as well. Nat, you're alive, Kushina said as tears began to fall down. Yes, I'm alive, stupid sister. What were you thinking banishing Naruto like stupid girl, Nat said as she cried equally. I wanted to protect him, I wanted to protect my little Maelstrom, Kushina cried while saying this. I know, but you should have let him know the plan, stupid girl, Nat said as she cried just as hard as Kushina. Everyone seeing this were enjoying the scene as the sisters were last together back in Yuzushi Agakure before the war destroyed it. Just as they were about to let go, Maze turned to Minato. I take it Jiraiya won't be coming to the tables for this alliance, Maze said. I'm afraid so. I leave him alone and he gets himself into trouble, but I did bring Lady Tsunade and Mikoto Uchiha, who possessed the Mangekyo Sharingan, to help start this alliance, Minato said. Mikoto Uchiha, where did I hear that name from? Maze said as began thinking where that name was familiar. Ah, now I remember, sweet Satsuki mother, Kalifa's friend, and don't worry, in a few more hours the academy will end for the day, so when she gets back here, I'll introduce you to her, Maze said with a smile. Thank you, General Maze, Mikoto said with polite bow. Now there's no need for that. Now then, till our kids come back you can freely explore the village apart from the restricted zones which our Anbu will let you know, and as much as I would like to help you with a tour, I have other matters that require my attention, she said with a heavy sigh. Paperwork, Minato said, getting a nod from the general. I use shadow clones to help with it. I take it Saiyans don't have the ability to make clones, Minato said. No, we don't, and the moment I find someone who can do that I'll ask them for the technique, Maze said as she left via teleporting. Elsewhere on another planet. Chu Tian sneezed loudly. Are you okay? Tian Chiaotzu said. Yeah, someone must be talking about me, let's get back to training, Chiaotzu Tian said. Okay, Chiaotzu said. Back on planet Elam. Several hours later. As the Tsunade, Mikoto, Kushina along with Kakashi, Itachi, Snake and Eagle were giving a tour of the village with Nat as their guide, they were led to the shopping district where they saw some of the clothes that was high quality and wooden sculptures of the tailed beast on sale that looked absolutely real. The group asked how the village manages their economy with them being hidden from everyone, with Nat explaining that some of the Anbu pose as merchants as they leave, sealing their goods into scrolls and then unsealing them before giving it to another merchant in another country, and when it comes to the money they seal it back up and bring it home to be taxed before giving it to the people who actually made it. The group asked if the taxes was high for them but was told the taxes were actually quite reasonable despite them being hidden from everyone, as the Anbu not only help deliver the merchandise to the merchants but also collect bounties for themselves from missing nin, but they must be wearing civilian clothes so that no one knows they're from Sadala. As they were shopping they noticed some kids with headbands on sneaking in the back room in a store and leaving with a bag with Sadala's symbol on it. As the group told the shopkeeper about the theft, when the kids heard this they dropped the bag and ran off. Better luck next, kids, he said with a smile as he picked up the bag and placed it on the counter. Wait, you're encouraging them to steal from you? Tsunade said as she and the group were confused. Yes and no, those kids with the headbands are training to be shinobi, and as shinobi steal and stealth is part of the job, so the Shinobi Academy started this thing up where they give us this bag of tokens to hide in our stores and the kids come in and steal them without being caught, so they come in as a group, get the layout and find the bag and leave. Then some other kid comes in and steals it. The shopkeeper said, getting the group to realize that it was practice for them when they become shinobi. Interesting, it helps them gather intel, so that when someone steals it, they not related to the group that came and not bad training method, Kakashi said. Also it's a bit of fun for us since it lets us scare the crap out of them when they get caught stealing the bag. Sometimes we carry the bag on us when we leave to help them with a moving target. The academy was actually surprised that we did that and thought it was an excellent idea. I take it then that shinobis here are trained to be in the shadows, while the Saiyans fight in the light, Itachi said, getting a nod from the shopkeeper. Yep, the military decided that shinobi should be trained to move in the shadows, fight in the shadows, and leave in the shadows without anyone knowing they were there, the shopkeeper said. And that means that when they graduate from the academy they're practically Anbu, Snake said. I wonder how the Saiyans train when they are at the academy, Eagle said. Apart from fighting one-on-one, they get trained to take on multiple opponents at once, so that when they are outnumbered, they focus on defense and countermeasures, but they do get sent to the hospital a lot. The shopkeeper said, getting worried looks from the group. Aren't you worried in case they get killed or maimed when they do that, Tsunade asked. Don't worry about it, they got instructors there to make sure they don't get hurt too bad, but then again they do get stronger when they recover from their injuries, he said, getting some looks. What do you mean by that, Kushina said. What he means is that Saiyans have the ability to get a permanent power boost when they recover from a fight, sometimes it's 10th of a power increase, sometimes it's far greater. Nat said. Wait a minute, so the old saying what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, Saiyans have that ability, Tsunade asked. Yep, they literally have that ability, Nat said, some serious looks. Yeah, okay, that's so unfair, Kakashi said, as getting stronger from battles would be a dangerous ability as it would take humans months or even years to get stronger, while Saiyans just need to get injured and just recover to get stronger. Okay, just how many Saiyans do you have here anyway, Tsunade asked. The last count we had was a few months ago, which was around over 9,000, nearly halfway at the least, Nat said, getting scared looks from everyone. Over 9,000, they said out loud. Yep, but probably a few hundred or so are not warriors, Nat said. Holy shit, and can all the warriors control the giant ape, Kakashi said. Actually, controlling the giant ape is one of the main requirements to become a warrior, Nat said, getting shocks from the group as they remember just how hard it was for them just trying to defeat the Nine Tails who was summoned in the village, and yet there was nation with over 9,000 Saiyans that can fly and control the giant ape form that can rival a tailed beast. As they looked at each other, they realized that the balance of power between the 5 great nations was meaningless, as Sadala's power was far greater than the 5 nations combined, and that was just the warriors' side of Sadala's strength. They didn't even know how many shinobis they or how strong they are, but guessed it was high as they had the Hyuga's all-seeing Byakugan that can see targets kilometers away, and their chakra pathways, their deadly gentle fist and deadly reflexes. Uchiha's Sharingan that can copy any jutsu, Genjutsu strong enough to control a tailed beast and gives its wielder increased reflexes. Senju's famed wood release that can restrain a tailed beast, and their immense skill in ninjutsu, Taijutsu and Genjutsu, hence the name Senju, translates to 1,000 skills. Now they have the greatest seal masters the elemental nations have ever seen, the Uzumakis, who have immense life force giving them immense chakra, and then there's their chakra chains that can hold down a tailed beast, and that was just the 4 main clans that they saw, who knows what other clans they are hiding in their nation. We better pray this alliance goes through or the leaf will be destroyed in seconds with only a small force from Sadala, Kakashi said. Oh please, if they wanted to conquer the world they would have done it by now, Tsunade said, getting looks from everyone. They don't need to, let's face it, we had 3 great shinobi wars, why bother attacking us when we're already attacking each other, all they need to do is sit back and think how easy it will be for them to come over and take everything once we're all dead. Tsunade said, getting sighs from everyone. Yeah, good point, we really do make it easy for them after all, Mikoto said as Shinobi appeared in front of her. Lady Mikoto, forgive the intrusion, but I've been sent to inform you that Satsuki has just returned from the academy and is waiting at the Uchiha compound for you, the shinobi said as he disappeared. It's finally time, Mikoto said as she was getting nervous, and not only her but Itachi as well. Follow me, I'll lead you to the compound, Nat said, getting nods from everyone. The Uchiha compound. Why am I waiting here, Satsuki said. Someone is coming here to see you, said Yui, who was Satsuki guardian since she was brought to Sadala from Konoha. Who are they, Satsuki asked. They are your mother Mikoto Uchiha and your older brother Itachi Uchiha, Yui said with a smile. Wait a second, my mom is here and Sadala, Satsuki said as she was surprised. Does Itachi have a duck's butt for hair like Sasuke, Kalifa said as Yui asked her to be there to help Satsuki when they arrive. No, I don't have little Sasuke's hair, and I now just realized that it does look like a duck's butt, said Itachi with a little giggle as he realized that Sasuke's hair does look like a duck's butt. Satsuki turned to see Itachi and Mikoto standing at the gate, she immediately hid behind Kalifa as she was nervous. Hi, what's the big idea, Satsuki, why are you hiding behind me and not Yui, she said. Sorry you're closer Khalifa she said as looked over Khalifa's shoulder seeing the older woman who looked like her only older who holding back tears at seeing here. She looks like mother and she's nervous that's so cute Itachi thinking to herself. Oh my god she's a little mini-me Makoto thinking to herself as she began tearing herself up. The family only looked at each other for several minutes before Yui suggested an idea. Come on Satsuki say hello she said, but Satsuki was too nervous to do that, but thankfully Yui saw this happen and that's why she asked Khalifa to stay with her. Okay I'm done hiding you from them, Khalifa said as she took a step closer to them. Wait Khalifa don't move Satsuki said who moved a step closer to them while still hiding behind Khalifa who moved a step closer to them. Don't move Khalifa, what if they don't like me she said. Oh please look at them they practically going to cry tears of joy, Khalifa said as she was only a couple of feet away from Makoto, who realized what Khalifa was doing and opened her arms readying for what was about to happen. And lastly the final push Khalifa said as she teleported behind Satsuki and pushed her into Makoto's arms who picked her in a loving hug while crying. Bye Satsuki, my sweet Satsuki Makoto said as Satsuki felt embarrassed by this but felt something deep inside her telling her it was okay and that she was safe. Mom Satsuki said as she returned the loving hug back to Makoto, she then felt a hand on the back of her head and saw Itachi smiling at her with a tear down his face. Brother she said as she reached out to him as well, only to get poked in the head with 2 fingers from Itachi, who had a smile on his face. Isn't that lovely Khalifa Yui said as she looked the reunited family but saw Khalifa turning her back away instead. Oh is that a tears I see Khalifa Yui said with a smile. No I got something in my eye is all Khalifa said as she was too tomboyish for the love scene. What if neglected Naruto was born as Saiyan in Konoha and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.